Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. What's up, guys? How are we doing tonight? I hope we're doing well. We have a big one today. We have a big one. I didn't know exactly what I was going to talk about. At first, I had a couple small stories. Trump, the Olympics banning trans folk from women's sports coming in either 2026 or 2028. That was a big one. Trump literally banning fat people. Literally banning fat people from coming into the country. High calorie individuals are going to be denied visas, apparently. Yes. More of that. Very fucking great. But then I'm sitting, perusing Twitter, wondering what else is out there. And I see something curious. I see a post from my friend Elijah Schaffer. My friend Elijah Schaffer is being sued by the United States government. Not quite, though. Not quite. He's being sued by a proxy of the United States government, an alleged Mossad honeypot, sort of. Is it even alleged? This is a big question. $5 million. Kash Patel himself, the director of the FBI, is going right for the throat on my friend Elijah Schaffer because Republicans cannot not eat their own. They can't do it. They have no spine when it comes to fighting the Democrats, but they have other people's spines. Literally, there's a stand-in proxy. There's a stand-in proxy for going after Elijah Schaffer. And I see it already. Elijah's outright lying about the lawsuit. We're going to read it. It's 12 pages. There's not much to it. The allegation that this tweet caused $5 million in damage is fucking crazy. The thought of it. And we're going to talk about what's right with it, what's wrong with it, what's possible, what's next, all of that stuff. We're going to probably do that pretty quickly here. We'll, we'll give people a little time to show up, and then we'll go in. We'll go in on it. But it's nuts. Doom is here. Doom says that I could be covering Karmic right now, and I'm covering this. What? What's up with Karmic? I mean, besides just the general lunacy that is that man, what is up with him? Special right now? I don't know. Yeah, I am using StreamYard or Streamlabs. I'm using StreamYard. I think that's what you mean. You saying the camera's like off? So on my end, it looks just fine. On my end, it all looks good. Here we go. How about who knows? I don't know how to fix it. It hitches. I know sometimes my camera locks up for a second, but I Joe had a portrait mode and normal mode stream at the same time. What a disaster. There's some weirdo in the video. Nick can fix it. No, I can't. No, I can't. Juan Constantine, I do not love black wieners. Man. See, that's defamation. Yeah, Danger Toast Limited. It was definitely me who broke up the Jack show. I've been trying to do it for years. Years and years and years. And I'm finally successful. And that's really the important part. That's really the important part. But we are going to do that. We're going to watch Elijah's response video, which we might start with here. He put a response video out about this lawsuit. Will Chamberlain has chimed in. Will Chamberlain is a lawyer, I guess. But he has kind of a trash take on this lawsuit. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why Republicans are insistent on this shit. You know what happens if Elijah says that your girlfriend is a Mossad honeypot? You just say nothing. You say nothing at all. You just ignore that and just go, yeah, like whatever. I don't believe any of that. These allegations are false, whatever. If you feel like addressing it, but you're the director of the fucking FBI. What are you doing? Elijah's a guy who talks on the internet. I mean, he talks to a lot of people, and he's not the genesis of the accusations. So, yes, I am a touch uncentered to the left. It has to do with how my desk is laid out. And the art to the is to the right, very off-putting, the small part of society that you should pay no mind to. Yes. Sorry, that's that. Sunglasses on point tonight. Thank you, Steph. Appreciate it. I really like these. I wore them to court. They're nice because they're really subtle for me. Like it just they're kind of like those blue light blockers, and they kind of tune down all the shit coming at you, but it's, you can see through them. Some people have been complaining lately that you can't see my eyes. Elijah roofied Nick once and took his butt virginity in a bar bathroom. Elijah did not come out that night. That would have happened 100%, but it didn't because he was too busy building a computer or something. Okay, let's get this video pulled up here. We need to make this happen. Okay, and we'll present this. Sergeant Orc says transcendental dislocation. Are you wearing suits all the time because you're hoping an update to GTA 6, whenever it is released, will generate a storyline and character for you? Dude, that would be so funny if there's like some dev that was like secretly, like either a fan or a hater. He's like, I got to put this motherfucker in the game. We got to do that. No, since Elijah Schaffer is being sued for talking about Israel and Zionism, I decided to wear a Hugo Boss jacket tonight. Like that's what's going on tonight with my outfit. Got to have the uniform, I suppose. No, this is this is, of course, this always puts me in a predicament because I don't hate Jews at all, and I don't even really hate Israel that much. Like, I get people's problems with foreign policy that focuses on Israel. I get all that, but like it's not like my biggest issue. I don't really talk about it that much. I don't care. the same level that some other people do. But my friend does, apparently, and they're suing him. Like, an Indian guy is suing him over his Jewish girlfriend or something. With that nose, who knew? No, like, I'm jealous. I'm like, why does y'all's nose give you like textiles and gold? My nose just gives me sadness because it's Polish. So, all right. So we've got this. We do have. I need to put into the live chat, and we are live on Rumble as well, of course. I gotta get my Rumble chat over here on screen. What's up, Chichunia? How you doing? You should do a segment where I show you my gay outfit. I'm wearing it. You're looking at it right now. I'm wearing blue jeans today. But I was actually thinking of that, like, maybe not a segment, but like a fit check every show, just like up in the corner or something, so people could look at it. But let's see. Okay. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, yes. I'm going to put the link to Super Tips in each chat. If you have not checked out Super Tips, it's a way to, it's like if you were going to send a super chat or some like a Rumble rant, instead you can send it through Super Tip, and Super Tip will we have a plethora of AI voices that do imitations of people, and those those voices will read your chat for you if you want, or you can just send a regular text only chat, just like a super chat that I'll pull up and read. It's the same thing. The main benefit, of course, is YouTube takes 30%. And if you do it through Apple, they take 30% also. Super Tip only takes 10%. So the creators that you're supporting get 90% of the money rather than significantly less. It's really nice for us. We also get it right away instead of having to wait, over a month to get paid. So those are just some things to consider if you want to check it out. I'm putting the link in each chat, and maybe you'll enjoy it, All right, we got to pin that. We're going to put this over here in Rumble, pin that. Now everything's pinned. Yeah, you definitely need to do an Elijah voice. I'm probably going to take off some of the voices that people don't know, because there's a bunch of crossover voices on there that I have available, but like don't fit into this community very well. And so we'll probably take some of those off so we declutter it. I still really want them to create like a category organization for the drop downs. Shelly C 8173 sent 5 gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Shelly, for that. I really appreciate it. And here's what a super tip looks like. This is from Cup of Soothe, and it's using Nate's voice.
Waiting for a decision on my writ of mandamus, or as I call it, a writ of get off your damn ass.
Yes, Cup of Soothe is fighting XL Energy as a proxy for the United States, or for the government, using the police power and violating people's Fourth Amendment rights. So much hope that he will do well in that. This just in case says I should do the fit display so you guys know I'm wearing pants. What would it matter if I'm not, though? What would it matter if I'm not? Entertain me, ho. Fine. Okay. God, all you had to do is ask by calling me a ho. Like, that helped, I guess, made me more likely to do it. Dex Deadly over on Locals says, I know you ain't drinking, but it cheers to me because today CPS is fucking off finally and leaving me alone on the bullshit my daughter's previous school tried to claim and proved they did it in a retaliatory nature. Shit. Here we go. Here we are. Just on says, you mean the link that Libby's been furiously posting in the chat the last 2 shows? That link? Have they really? Like, Jay Lieb got. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that one. So, cheers to Dex Deadly for surviving the horror that is a CPS investigation and CPS intervention and interference in your life and the parenting of your children. Of course, having it prompted by a school doing it in retaliation for whatever is always lovely. It's government abuse of power and government circle jerk at its finest. And of course, it only involves your children. So who cares? A cheers to you for surviving all that. Yes, Shaky Boy. A lot of people are saying there's drop frames and stuff like that. Nothing I can do with it. Apparently, StreamYard may be having some issues today. We're gonna try and stutter through it. We're gonna do that. So here we go. Let's pull this up and let's kind of get into it. Elijah Schaffer says, I was just sued for $5 million over my ex post criticizing Israel. That's true. That's true. We're going to pull up the document. We're going to get into it completely. By FBI Director Kash Patel's inner circle. I've never engaged in defamation or illegal activity. Gross lawfare. This is an attack on free speech and an embarrassment to the FBI and the Trump administration. I agree 100%. Here is my response. We're going to watch this and we're going to read the lawsuit. Here we go.
Over the weekend, I received concerning news that I was being sued for $5 million by Kash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. And the reason why might actually shock you. About a couple months ago, I posted this photo on the public social media platform X. I posted it with no caption, no suggestions of.
By the way, we will get a closer look at the photo in the actual lawsuit. Here's the crazy thing. The lawsuit itself alleges this one tweet with a photo of Kash Patel and his girlfriend, which included the repost of some other person who is saying something about government officials being compromised by Mossad honeypots. And Elijah reposted that without comment and with just the picture of Kash Patel and his girlfriend. And that's it. He didn't say any words. He didn't imply he didn't accuse anything or anybody of anything. That's all he did was post that picture. That is what is getting him sued for $5 million. $5 million.
Of any malintent or any slander, defamation, or criticisms of character. I did so attached to an X post shared by another account that I'm not connected to that talked about government agents being compromised. Now Alexis Wilkins is saying that I owe her $5 million for damages, the exact evaluation of my company, and if I cannot come up with that money, that I'm going to have to shut down my business, give up all of my digital assets and my entire voice online in order to pay her back. So why does Kash Patel's girlfriend want to silence me? Well, it comes down to the lawsuit itself. Before anyone jumps to conclusions and says, well, don't say that she's a honeypot, I'd like to say, I never did. I never would. I never felt like suggesting that, never even suggested that in my own head. So why am I being sued for something I never did? To give proof of that, in section 14 of the lawsuit, it states, while the defendant may not have included any caption to spell out the meaning of his post.
That line alone is insane. This is a defamation lawsuit, right? This is about words. This is about false statements. And listen to that. While defendant may not have included any caption, zero caption. Holy shit. He's being sued for making defamatory statements without making a statement.
He didn't have to. Ever since Kash Patel was appointed as director of the FBI in February of 2025, The conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading false narratives about Miss Wilkins as an Israeli Mossad agent, spy, or
Schaffer, why you shrugging when I drop some love on Cody? You know you're my homeboy, and I'm gonna drop some love on you too. Those of us without micro peens gotta stick together.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, Grifty, nothing but love, brother. Nothing but love. And you know, back to this this Elijah lawsuit, like the level of insanity here is really off the charts. Again, we're gonna read through all this. I'm gonna go back just a hair here if I can. Well, because of that super chat coming in, I want to make sure we get back to it and didn't have anything overlap too much.
of the FBI in February of 2025, the conspiratorial.
Oh yeah, I need to make a full disclosure here. Elijah Schaffer is a friend of mine. I've been on. I was I was on the last episode of the You Are Here podcast that was on the Blaze. I take full credit actually for destroying that podcast single-handedly. I like that's what I do. That's what I do. Like I let my friends have a show and feel good about themselves for a little bit. We get that going, right? And then we just go in with a fucking with a scythe and we do the reaping and we chop those shows down. That said, after You Are Here was over, he was sued by Sydney Watson. I believe, he ultimately prevailed in that lawsuit. I think Sydney failed dramatically, if I'm not mistaken. And then, he went on to take a break for a while, come back. He's doing his own thing again. He's got his own show. He's been doing really well from what I understand. I also have met Kash Patel. I was on a show with him in person on Tim Pool. I've spoken with him when he reached or was appointed director of the FBI. I sent him a text that he probably never saw and didn't respond to, but congratulating him. I don't have any personal problem with Kash Patel. He's a really interesting guy. When I talked to him after the Tim Pool show, we sat around telling jokes and having some whiskey and it was a good time. So just so you know, like I do have mild personal connection to him, not like a strong one. We're not buddies or anything like that. I'm a better connection with Elijah Schaffer. I've spoken to plenty of times. I consider him a friend. So just so people, like, if you want to evaluate my analysis and what I'm saying about this, it's impossible to entirely eliminate biases. I will try my best to do so. I do believe this falls strongly in favor of Elijah Schaffer on the law itself. So I just want to point that out, but I don't want any like pretenses like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I do know Elijah and am friendly with him and definitely like I don't want to see this happen to my friend or anyone else, especially coming at the behest of the government.
Conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading false narratives about Miss Wilkins as an Israeli Mossad agent, spy, or quote honeypot who is only in the relationship with.
So this is crazy, and we'll talk about this during the lawsuit. But again, these statements about this woman predate Elijah's statement about the woman, which is a huge fucking problem for them. Huge problem.
Kash Patel to spy on and manipulate the United States government. Defendant's wordless reply, it goes on to say. So to clarify, before we go any further, if you post a public photo of a government official and his romantic partner, who he's not married to, a very important fact we'll talk about, you as a private citizen or a member of the press can be bankrupted, have your entire company shut down, or completely mocked, slandered, and dragged through lawfare because of what? because of your First Amendment protected rights. Now, I believe that this lawsuit is not only an attack on our First Amendment and our constitutional rights given to us by God, but I believe this is also a violation of SLAPP ordinances. This seems to be a proxy lawsuit, if anything, from Kash Patel himself, and I have the evidence to prove it. We'll start here by talking about what is this lawsuit about and why is it so concerning. As I just read in the previous section, Alexis Wilkins states that I never said anything about her being a Mossad agent. So how am I being sued for saying anything about that?
The way they're going to try and get about this, and we'll look at it in the lawsuit, is something called defamation by implication. I think they have a lot of problems with this. I think they have a big hurdle to overcome with it as well. Again, when we read the suit, we'll get more into it.
Considering I'm being sued for things I didn't say? Yeah, you heard that right. They're suing me for the implications based upon previous posts I had made on my X account, not about Alexis, not about Kash, but about the state of Israel.
And that's crazy. Yeah. The supporting, the thing to support the implication, the defamation by implication, is other statements that Elijah has made completely divorced from this woman, but about Israel itself in general and Israel's influence on the foreign government. So, wild shit. Mike Milichek says, I called the CPS agent a Yahtzee the time they came to my door. This is many years ago, and some person who did not like me called them on my wife and I. Don't ever let CPS into your house without a warrant. Personal advice, not legal advice, obviously. Get your legal advice from your lawyer, etc. But don't let them into your house or into your life without a warrant. They need one. They are one of the most dangerous organizations as it relates to your family and your family safety and your family's ability to stay together. Do not let them in. They are the government's hammer.
Take you to section 17 of evidence. Defendant frequently posts anti-Israel rhetoric accusing Israel of controlling the United States and its politicians, in which they share a post that I said Trump.
Just like as a side note, Israel, let me talk to you for a second. If a bunch of people are saying you control everybody's speech and thoughts and you control the U.S. government and you have your hands like firmly around the neck and dick of the director of the FBI, don't sue those people because you're giving it away, man. Like, you're letting us all know. You're saying the quiet part out loud. It's just a bunch of crazy people spouting off in the distance that no one's listening to, and then you sue them over and over. It's like, you know what? Maybe they do. Holy shit, I'm going to eat some matzah right now. Fuck, got to get ready.
Doesn't want to admit that Netanyahu doesn't fear him. Israel has more control over the USA than we do over them. Our politicians are hook, line, and sinker, sold out to the Jewish state of regime. It's genuinely disheartening, and we must remove these parasites from AIPAC. They also posted more evidence in the lawsuit, nothing to do with Alexis Wilkins, nothing to do with Kash Patel, and nothing to do with me saying anything about her being a Mossad agent. I never said it, so they don't have evidence. So why is it that they've made the entire lawsuit about my thoughts on the Israeli government? That's highly suspicious. They also posted more evidence where I said my entire feed is just about people glazing Israel and defending the occupation of our nation. It's incredible. It all happened after the forced TikTok sale on behalf of the ADL. I also said you either get Israel-controlled politicians who hate you or foreigners who hate you. Welcome to America. I hate it here. And one of the last posts they put, there's many more that I'll read, is it breaks my heart that Trump could have been if he wasn't a slave to Israel. Tragic. Now, if you're like me and you're wondering, what did I possibly do to receive a lawsuit for $5 million, which they suspiciously got the exact valuation of my intellectual property, that would force me to shut down and apologize and turn over all my assets to the district court, that would require me to turn over communications in discovery, which I'll talk about what we're planning on doing and how we're going to be responding to this. I'm going to tell you, this is a very dangerous precedent for the American people, because the entire evidentiary case they have against me is that I do not support Israel, that I do not believe that Americans are free, that we are occupied by Israel, and that my criticisms of Kash are why this is filed. Now, let's talk about this. I want to clarify these things. I never said anything about Alexis Wilkins, period. She said that I had a wordless reply.
Kiki Fried Egg Tit says, do you think Carl has ruined Melton's chances for being awarded costs? Will you help Aaron with funding and completing paperwork to bail out Mikey? To the second one, no, I will not. To the first one, no. I don't think Carl has anything, has done anything that puts Melton in jeopardy of not being awarded costs. The sad reality is that being awarded costs in a failed HRO is really rare. I am definitely going to pursue them. This is definitely frivolous. It's bullshit. And Aaron has been dragging it out as long as possible so that he has an ex parte order rather than an actual defended order. So I'll be pursuing costs. The prospects of winning on that are really low. They just are. They always are in HRO cases.
Sounds dystopian, doesn't it? She also said I didn't imply anything about her being a Mossad agent. In fact, it says that I just posted a picture of our unmarried head of intelligence in our country, one of the single most important positions in the world, that is dating a girl who we know nothing about. He is not married in a committed relationship by law. That's important. And he's on the dating market. Do you want your FBI director to be on the dating market? I just think it's interesting, whether he's with her or anybody else. It's like, yeah, people can, be susceptible towards whatever is going on. And that's not even why I posted the photo. But, well, people could be. So what would be wrong if somebody even did imply that? I didn't imply it, but it's like, even if they're accusing me of doing what they say I did, is there a crime in just wondering if your intelligence agencies are being led by uncompromised individuals? No, obviously not.
So the government, again, is trying to use defamation to do this here. They're using a private citizen as a proxy. There are problems with this we're going to talk about. This does not make for good law. This does not make for good lawfare. This is the government attempting to punish a private citizen and using the wrong channels to do so. The lawsuit, the fact section is delightfully bereft of allegations of damages. In the cause of action section, it briefly mentions damages being suffered. There's no quantitative assessment of damages. There's actually no tangible link of the damages to the picture or anything like that. Plus, in the lawsuit, it says over and over, or I shouldn't say over and over, but it does state in the lawsuit that Elijah is repeating claims of other people, which again, really makes damages hard to attribute to just him. So, what they probably did though, right, is they probably did like a comparative analysis of the popularity of the people making statements. And what they did was they showed how far the reach was on the, the prior statements all leading up to Elijah's post. And then they showed his and how it greatly expanded the whole. No, they didn't do that. They didn't do any of that shit at all. They did nothing.
Look at James O'Keefe's entire investigative portal. He literally finds unmarried government officials, intelligence operatives from the CIA, and he sets them up on fake dates, uses them to get sensitive information, and then compromises entire departments. It happens all the time. Americans have the right to question if that's happening to anyone in our government. Doesn't matter if they're a private citizen or a public figure like Miss Wilkins, who, by the way, Kasha said is a public figure. He boasts all the time how she's one of the most popular country singers of all time. She's also a PragerU commentator, another organization tied to the IDF.
Fucking PragerU, man. PragerU is they're everywhere. Those little weasels.
An Israeli government, allegedly. Well, I'll tell you this. I like to ask yourself the question here. If the head of the FBI girlfriend is suing a private citizen and a journalist for posting a picture without any inference, based only on the evidence that he criticized a foreign government, we have to ask ourselves, not only is Alexis Wilson foolish, is she stupid? That's my question. How dumb are you that you would file this lawsuit? You're making a mockery of yourself, your own intelligence. You make embarrassing your boyfriend. But most importantly, you're embarrassing the FBI. the United States government and overall the Trump administration with your foolish attempt to try to intimidate and bully someone from being able to use their First Amendment right. So I ask myself these two questions.
The one, Marrero says, Nick, what is your take on all this Israel rhetoric? Do you believe the Israel government have more control over the American government than we think? Hypothetically, of course, lol. It depends on who we are, right? Like, I don't think they have more than what Nick Fuentes thinks, because he thinks they have a lot. Do they have more than what I think? Probably. Israel's a huge ally. The other issue that we have, are very prominent people in the United States at all of the upper strata of society, from the arts to the law to finances to manufacturing to sales to marketing, like everything, including major motion pictures and mass communications and mass media, has a high percentage of population of Jewish people involved at the highest levels. That's not inherently a problem. That's not a big thing. Some of those people are, also, and this is logical in some ways when you think about it. Of course, have Zionistic tendencies. They're very pro the state of Israel, and it's, Israel is a special sort of homeland that has a lot of, not only cultural significance and historical significance for the Jews, but also for Christians, and is, the root, the base of where God's people are intended to be and all of that stuff. So you can understand, like, that these ties back to Israel go far, far beyond mere political allegiance or anything like that, beyond blood connections to families. I mean, we're talking about core beliefs being tied to a proximate location in the state of Israel itself, and in a vested personal and a profound religious interest in preserving the present state of Israel and improving it for Israelis specifically. You can understand those things even if you don't agree with them. Okay. And so what you have is people in positions of power, people in positions of influence, people in positions of money at a disproportionately high level, with a beyond heritage link to this place that happens to be an American ally. And the people that are in those positions have also made it into Congress, the Senate. If they're not directly in Congress or the Senate, they have lots of influence with them through either money and lobbying, or through all of their kids coming out of Harvard or whatever and interning and all that shit. Just the natural ability, and this doesn't have to be nefarious, but just a natural capacity for Israeli and Jewish interests specifically to be highly overrepresented in regards to the relative population in the United States government, is like the potential for that is off the fucking charts, just because of reality, and there's dark parts of what built that on the American side. Racism and anti-Semitism has played a part in bringing that about in different ways, but so has Zionism and pro-Israelism. All of those things have worked together to create this Mazel Tov cocktail, if you will, right? And has brought a bunch of Israeli influence at all levels of American culture and government. Like, it's there, it's everywhere. Whether or not you think that's proper is up to you. Whether you want to question people's alliances and stuff, that's all up to you. But there are realities behind all of it. I don't know where I stand. I mean, I would assume that there's more influence. I always assume there's more influence than I think there is, which is a weird thing to say, but like there's the amount that I think, and I'm like, well, I gotta be like, I'm probably wrong on it, you know. But that's my opinion. I hope that Sorivs says this is gay. Jews in Israel are different. Very, very different. Yes, right. I know, and I'm not saying that every Jew in every place is Zionist or pro-Israel. I know plenty of Jewish people who are not Zionists. They're fully American. They don't like pro-American policy. They disagree with some of the policies we have towards Israel. They think maybe we send too much aid and stuff like that. So please don't misrepresent or misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there is the potential and a propensity for this particular piece of land, which holds a very special value to a group of people who have like a people group who have worked themselves to a disproportionate level of achievement in all these different avenues. And like I said, a lot of that is a result of anti-Semitism. Malcolm Gladwell wrote about why Jewish lawyers became like the big dogs because they didn't used to be. Basically the white lawyers wouldn't touch mergers and acquisitions. They thought they were dirty, they were filthy law, didn't, bad karma and stuff like that. So the Jewish lawyers did mergers and acquisitions for a long time. The smaller schools that the Jewish students could go to because they weren't allowed in the white schools and the nice clubs or whatever. They taught mergers and acquisitions. And then all of a sudden in the 80s, mergers and acquisitions became in vogue. And suddenly millions and millions and millions and even billions of dollars are transacting through these law firms. And the people who are the best at it were the ones who'd been doing it for decades. And that was Jewish law firms. And so they rose to prominence. They made a ton of money. And that's because, in some ways, because they were kicked out of the club due to anti-Semitic sentiments earlier. And it's like, well, the turnabout is fair play, I guess, in that case. But like, obviously, there are people with ties and connections to a homeland. I'm just saying that Israel has a little bit, the dials turned up a little bit because of the religious implications, and that, the root and the origins of both Judaism and Christianity being within the physical borders of Israel, makes it pretty important to a lot of people. They have a different desire to protect it. And let me just say that extends to a lot of Christians too. Christian Zionism is not uncommon, just because they're not forwarding religious Jew interests. They could be very interested in forwarding Israeli interests because of, again, the roots of Christianity and all that stuff being there. Their concern over Muslim influence in the region and what that might do to these historic religious sites and stuff like that. So Holly, movie star, says Catholics and Jews always fighting who dominates America. Winston Smith, Catholics not as much as you would think, man. The first Catholic president was JFK. It took a long time to get a Catholic in office. I think we had like one since. Typically it's evangelical Protestants who end up being president. Winston Smith says it's the Jewish lightning. The one Marrero says, just seems like there's always one floating around, and stuff. That didn't sound problematic. Hypothetically speaking, of course, lol. And yes, that answered my question. Thank you. You're welcome. Look, I try to be practical about it, but like I don't care as much as other people that there are people who are pro-Israel or have Zionist interests or whatever. Like I want America to focus on America. I want that to happen. I want that to be the primary goal. I think there's lots of work to be done here. But people having other interests doesn't really bother me. in the same way that it bothers other people. So I'm always open to talk about it, and people can tell me, but you know, my theory is like, if you don't like that politic, then outvote it. Outvote it. Be properly louder. Okay, back to this video.
Does Kash Patel know about this? Well, if he doesn't, and he doesn't know that his girlfriend is waging $1 million lawsuits using, according to Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone, she's using Kash Patel's legal resources, his own law firm. She's using the FBI director's law firm. Now, that's Max Blumenthal's reporting. We'll see if that turns out to be true. Well, if he doesn't, what kind of FBI director doesn't know that his girlfriend is filing frivolous lawsuits against the press for an ungodly amount of money using his attorneys and his name to weaponize the legal system against the journalists and a media company? True. Now, if he does know, this is a proxy lawsuit now by Kash Patel, the FBI director.
I mean, Kash Patel's foundation, I believe, is the one forwarding this lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, it's being brought by his girlfriend, but the people behind it and the law firm behind it are, you know, Kash Patel's involved.
Of the USA. And now this is problematic because now you have the most powerful law enforcement agency in the entire country trying to stop private citizens from posting public pictures I guess they don't like. Are we allowing ourselves to do that? Are they allowed to do that? I don't think so. So now, of course, we're on the fence here. If we allow Kash and his girlfriend, who are now obviously, this lawsuit wasn't about her, it entirely deviated from anything about her. It was all about my criticisms of Kash, the way Kash has been under stress.
The one Marrero says, genuinely, I'm just trying to learn here, lol. Yeah, we all are. You're great. Don't worry about it. You should never have any trouble, like any worries about asking questions here. Even the infamous JQ or whatever. I just may not have an answer that you like.
And again, paints me as an anti-Semite. Now, why would they do that? Well, there's only two reasons. Either A, they're trying to make the court think I'm a bad person so that they'll rule in her favor by smearing me and slandering me with unrelated facts, or B, that's what this lawsuit is about. And I believe the latter. They're both true, but the latter. This lawsuit is about silencing critics of Israel. Now, this kind of stuff happens in Australia where they don't have God-given rights. It happens in the UK. But the fact is, well, she might argue, you know, hey, she's a public figure. She's not a government official. But if she's using the director's law firm, this is very serious. This is a...
So yeah, we've got, she's using Kash's law firm. Elijah just confirmed it there. And I mean, of course, Kash knows about this. Like, there's no way he doesn't know about it, even in the absence of using his law firm. This is something that really has the potential to be a lot of trouble. I don't know how else to word it. Like, we got a bunch of things colliding in the same place. One of them is that, you know, for this, this is a journalist. You may not like Elijah Schaffer, but he is a journalist. He's broken stories. He has been at the heart of reporting some pretty crazy stuff, and he's a political journalist. Like, this is in his purview to make statements, but he didn't even make the statement. That's the crazy part here. This is an attack on, you know, an independent journalist who's doing his own thing and saying his own thing, probably over other criticisms of Israel. And we'll get to it.
Proxy lawsuit to bully me, the American people, a small independent media company, into not being able to comment on our elected and appointed government officials, their affairs, and their public life. We are taking this on full force. My company will not be intimidated by government officials, their proxies, or Trump's inner circle. We did not take money from Miriam Adelson, and here at the Rift TV, going to rifttv.com, we are asking you guys to support us in this legal fight because, again, we have been implicated on nothing. We have been accused of nothing. We have been told that we said nothing wrong. We have never been accused of lying. And by any fact, there's nothing in this lawsuit that states that we did anything criminal, libel, or defamatory. All it states, and you can see the documents there at the Gray Zone article linked here, All it states is that we are critical of Israel, and therefore we are endangering her reputation and her husband's or her boyfriend, whatever they are. We don't know what they are. And that is enough to ruin your life. Do you?
That summarizes the lawsuit. Again, we're going to read it so you guys will see for yourselves. But this is nuts, man. This is absolutely crazy. I'm still like processing through this. Like, holy shit. I'm going to say something really controversial. You can be anti-Semitic in America. Under the law, you get to do that. Like, you know, you get to do that. You can be racist. You can be sexist. You can be all of those things. Now, there are some times when those prejudices may cause you to interfere with, like, your rights clash against someone else's and you improperly go after them or whatever. There's not many places where that can happen legally, but they can. Pretty rare for that. But you get to be all those things. Even if it's the director of the FBI's obviously born in Israel Jewish girlfriend who just had her bar mitzvah or whatever. Whichever one the girls have.
You want to live in a country like that? Well, we're striking back legally. We've attained one of the biggest legal teams in the state of Florida in the circuit court who has graciously taken us on. We will be taking legal donations. There is a legal fund below to take on the federal government, which we believe is doing this by proxy. We are filing to dismiss this and pursue further legal discovery. We would like to obtain communications between Kash Patel and his girlfriend to find out if he knew about these lawsuits, to find out if she ever...
Wait, what? You're gonna go after communications between Kash and his girlfriend? They're not married. Those aren't privileged. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. That's not I bet nothing embarrassing is in those text messages.
Informed him and to go under discovery and under deposition to find out exactly what went on. Now, she's not just asking for a legal lawsuit. She's asking me to go before a jury. That's very important.
Yeah, I mean, this is dumb. This has problems. Kash is director of the FBI. Going after those communications is something. You don't get to just claim that all those communications are matters of national security or whatever, because why would he be sending his girlfriend any communications that have implications on national security? Does she have top level security clearance? I don't know. I doubt it. She's just a country singer and not a Mossad agent, so she better not. So what the fuck are you going to do? You get a, and they're bringing the smoke. You bring the smoke, baby. We bring the meat.
In a district that's very unfriendly with people who think like me. Calculated? Of course it is. Now, what does this mean for the American people? If you can be sued by Trump's inner circle into financial bankruptcy for protected speech, I would like to say that this lawsuit, if at all even entertained and not dismissed, is an all-out retaliation over free speech in this country based solely on the
Absolutely. The most critical speech to protect is offensive speech. Our offensive concepts are is the lunacy, the lunatic, the racist, the hater, the monster, the narcissist. That's the speech that needs to be protected to its maximum. Now, again, speech can infringe on the rights of others. It can. In this case, that's not what we seem to have going, as I'll be showing you in a few minutes.
Predication that I am critical of Israeli influence in our country. I believe these people have overstepped their boundaries as citizens of this country. They've overstepped their legal...
Miss Peachy Keen. He's not tall and he's Indian. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you about what you might see if the nudes come out or whatever. But not tall and Indian. So you can do the math on it. So can he. The one Marrero says, I swear sometimes I don't know what side is right or telling the truth. So from here on out, I'm taking all my political advice from Nick Rekieta. That's the only correct opinions. Only correct opinions.
Legal boundaries as plaintiffs in a lawsuit. And I also believe they have overstepped their boundaries as American representatives and those in such high positions as being romantic partners and directors of the FBI. This is a full-on assault on our First Amendment. And now you might be asking, why me? Why Elijah Schaffer? Well, I'm big enough that they can send a message. You will see this video, but I don't.
According to Google, Cash is 6'1". Not a chance. Is he 6'1"? Oh, wait, no, that's a basketball player. Hold on. That's a basketball player. Kishan Patel is 6'1". He's even short. That guy's even short for basketball. Cash Patel says it's not publicly available. Then I see a thing saying that he's 5'9". That sounds more correct. He's not a tall man. Miss Peachy Keen, I know you don't. Well, I don't know you don't, but I assume you don't because no one wants that.
Don't have the bank account of Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, or Candace Owens. I'm just a little guy like you guys trying to make a little bit of a difference what I can.
Yeah, HR Hrunting says you said you met him. I did, but I didn't measure him. Like, stand over here, little guy. Let me get out my measuring tape. He's significantly shorter than I am, and I'm 6'2". Okay, like that's what I got for you. He's not as tall as me. I am, of course, tall, beautiful, imposing, magnificent, majestic, all of those things. He is less so. I don't care that he's more important than me and all that stuff, but like I am taller than him, and he'll take that to his grave. And I know he's hurt by it.
And for my two beautiful sons, my lovely wife, and the rest of my supporters who care about the truth. Now, all the mentions about my criticisms of the Israeli government in the lawsuit, it's completely irrelevant here. And we're still want to know in discovery why they decided to include that as the entirety of the document. It's all about Israel. And they are mentally...
Sriv sent 10 memberships. Whoa. Thank you so much. By the way, guys, memberships are a great way to contribute to the show as well. And those of you who are gifted memberships, if you receive one, I'm really hoping that you join us for some of our members only content. You can go back and review some of the existing members only content while you have your gifted membership, and maybe think about adding yourself to those monthly roles without a gift, but just doing it. Maybe even gifting some other people so they can find it too. Cooking with Kurt, I promise you, like, even if the first time you watch it, it annoys you, just wait. Just wait and hang out. Just hang. It is something else. Thank you, dear to the heart. I really appreciate that.
Probably trying to silence anyone who's critical of their regime. Not only would I like to say I will not be retracting any of my criticisms of Israeli occupation of the United States government, but I will continue to criticize our politicians, Kash Patel, and all others who are seeking to undermine our ability to speak freely in this country. Look, you may love Israel and you may hate Israel, and that's irrelevant to me. You may be a Democrat, you may be a Republican. That's important here. If we are not allowed to criticize people, and by the way, I didn't even do that. If we're not even allowed to just openly speak, then we are headed down the path of the United Kingdom. We're just retweeting someone or resharing a post. They're mad about the contents of a post underneath my picture. And don't mention her either. They're mad about what he said. And that's not what I said. So now
By the way, there's nothing about this picture that automatically implicates this woman at all. The implication at its most generous is that Elijah might think that Cash is compromised. And the fact that he posted a picture of Cash and this woman does not need to be, she doesn't need to be the source of the compromise, right? Just because she's his girlfriend. That doesn't necessarily mean she's his Mossad girlfriend. I'm sorry, but Kash Patel is director of the FBI. I'm sure he has plenty of Mossad girlfriends at his disposal. Maybe that's the problem, right? Maybe she's like, but I'm not the Mossad girl. Who the fuck is your Mossad girlfriend? Maybe she's putting it together now. Maybe the Legos are stacking up and suddenly there's a robot or a car or whatever.
I can be in trouble for something someone else said online. We really want this as a nation?
DJ Van says the implication is as clear as it could possibly be. You don't know that actually at all. Especially, I hope you're not someone who supported Gina Carano in her lawsuit against Disney if you think that Elijah's post is problematic. I don't know if you are. This isn't whataboutism. It's just that a lot of people here are familiar and had opinions on the Gina Carano lawsuit where, she made a statement, was fired over that statement, etc. And the whole thing was about implication. She's like, I just reposted something without any implication, without any statement at all. I just reposted something. And then other people took it to mean something else. Be careful that that's not what you're doing. Like, again, if you believe that inside Elijah Schaffer's mind, you gotta show where. You gotta show where it is. The one Marrero says sent 5 gift law memberships, or didn't say that. He did that. Thank you. The one Marrero for passing along some gifted memberships. I saw that you just got one. That's awesome. Thanks. We've got DJ Van. We're gonna show the post. We're gonna show it's in the lawsuit. We're going through all this. Don't worry, and I'll talk about it, and I'll tell you my opinions on the potential pitfalls as well. A. Theodore says, can you talk about liberty and the separation of church and state? Why do MAGA Christians think they can force Americans to their views? It's a really good question. There's a relevant Supreme Court story on that today, as the Kim Davis, who refused to sign a marriage certificate for 2 gay men in Tennessee, I think it was, back in 2015. The Supreme Court declined review of Kim Davis's case, putting the final nail in the coffin and solidifying, at least for the present, Obergefell, which is the homosexual right to marry across the entire United States, solidifying that as U.S. law that is going to be sticking around for plenty of time. And that has a heavy going after that, for example, has a heavy religious connotation to it, I guess is the right word. And so of course it's like the law firm that did it, or the organizations like the Center for Religious Liberty, etc. But or not religious liberty, it was religious something else. But all of those things play into this idea of a separation of church and state, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. The separation of church and state isn't actually in the Constitution. And Ben Franklin, it's in a letter that Ben Franklin wrote, and the phrase has been twisted beyond his meaning. His assertion was to build a wall of separation between the church and the state, to prevent the state from interfering with the church, not to prevent the church from interfering with the state. It goes one way, because the church has every right to advocate and push for its own policies and its own protection through the state. The state does not have any right to interfere with religious practice, or the operations of the church. So we've got a big issue there. Oh my goodness. My boy Camelot just raided the stream. We are talking about Elijah Schaffer, my boy Elijah Schaffer, also being sued by the United States government for $5 million for posting a picture of a hottie in a red dress. And we're going to look at the picture of the hottie in the red dress. We're going to do an analysis of their comparative, we got to do a full analysis of this picture, talk about Kash Patel, talk about the girl, see, we got to talk about if this relationship has organic merit to it. I think that's important. I think it's really important for us to analyze the relationship of people that we don't really know, based solely off of one still frame image. I think that's critical to what we're doing tonight. Diamonds are forever. Sent 10 gifted memberships. Yes. Thank you so much. Love it. Thank you for giving people the opportunity to see that members content. The one Marrero says, I'm just pumped to be back live with the one and only Pope Rackets. And I'm not pro, like, I'm not a Zionist because I am the Pope. I am the Pope. Oh, sorry. Was it Jefferson's letter, not Franklin's? My bad. My bad. My mistake. Thank you for correcting that. I appreciate that. By the way, you're banned, and don't you ever fucking show your face around here again. Correcting me in the chat. What do you think this is?
Suing over a photo with no caption is lawfare meant to intimidate me. But bad news for you guys. The American people don't just go away. We don't just let people like Cash Patels in this country step on us. My family was here before the revolution. We are heritage Americans, Mr. Patel. And with all due respect to your position, your girlfriend is embarrassing the administration, and we're not going to let this slide. This is a bipartisan concern that we all hold
Indian guys aren't supposed to like country music, and you know it, Cash.
together, saying, hey, whether you came last week or you came...
Hey, what's up? Ashley Elizabeth XOX sent nothing but some cash. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. How you doing, Ashley? I hope you're having a great night. I assume you're over at Camelot stream prior to this. Please, the next time you see him, rub his nipples for me.
Hundreds of years ago with your family, we are all here in this present moment together, and we're not going to allow this type of slap violation that we believe get in the way like they did to Trump during the Russiagate. I don't know who you're going after. I don't know if I'm the intended target, but you're trying to make me be collateral, and I'm not going to take it. You wanted a fight? You got one, Cash.
Yeah, buddy.
God bless you and your girlfriend. I want to say that God protect you and protect you against smears that you've sought to do against me, as you thought to ruin my reputation, damage my credibility, and bankrupt me. Americans do not take government bullying like this lightly, and neither do I. We aren't ones to back down from government intimidation or overreach. I'll see you guys in court.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Refreshing to see someone who is not intent on backing down, who is going to fight and take the fight to court if necessary. And let's be honest. The Cash Patel Foundation, or whatever it is, have they put themselves in quite a pickle here. They have put themselves in quite a pickle. They have opened themselves up to significant risk. And yes, to everybody who's saying Elijah Schaffer is a homosexual and all that stuff, I've seen it in the chat. Of course. And yet, we allow the gays to be anti-Semitic monsters here. I'm kidding. All right. Here we go. The KIS says, I think I might be into 1990s Britney Spears. What should I do? Buddy, she's 16 in that time. Baby One More Time came out. She's 16. You gotta watch out. What's up, Ron Martin? How you doing? Okay, so here we go. We have United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida, West Palm Beach Division. Alex Wilkins versus Elijah Schaffer. Jury trial demanded. Here is the complaint. This is 12 pages. We're going to read the whole thing word for word, and we're going to we're going to talk about it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. It's easiest to ask them with a super chat or super tip. But if you just put them in chat, I may see it as well and address it. All right. Defendant Elijah D. Schaffer has perpetuated, and we've already got a problem. This is already, what the this is already a problem. Okay. Because he is not alleging the malicious lie. According to the complaint, right out the gate, he is perpetuating a malicious lie, someone else's lie. This is a problem, a huge problem, because this bitch is almost for sure a public figure, because she's the girlfriend of the director of the FBI, and she's involved in a matter of public concern, which is the news story of an implied or a questioned compromising of United States officials at the highest levels by foreign interests. That will always be a matter of public concern, period. Is she a public figure? I don't know. Find out. But if this is not Elijah's claim, you fucking got a problem. Huge problem. We're going to get to malicious lie about Alexis Wilkins falsely claiming that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government assigned to manipulate. By the way, being American-born doesn't mean shit about whether you're an agent of a foreign government. Lots of American-born people end up agents of foreign governments in one way or another. Assigned to manipulate and compromise the director of the FBI. Well, I mean, they're in a romantic relationship. I think some manipulation and compromise is part of the deal. A defendant in internet personality who makes a living as a podcaster and political commentator, which, if you're keeping score, falls under the purview of citizen journalist every time. Profiting on churning controversy and outrage, which is legal. I don't know why they always do this. It's legal. Controversy and outrage. Yes, it gets clicks. It makes money. It drags attention. It sparks conversation. And it is 1,000 fucking % protected by the First Amendment, you fucking bitches. I'm so tired of this shit. It's in everyone like, oh, they did this to Candace Owens, and I don't even really like her that much. Sitting there saying, oh, she's drilling up controversy and outrage. Yes, of course she is. That's what news is. News is all controversy and outrage. That's the whole thing. Human conflict, human questions, human controversy is what drives our reality and our every single fucking day. It's what makes our lives interesting, problematic, and joyful. And to say that profiting off of them is wrong is the most communistic bullshit you can possibly state in regards to speech. Yes, controversy and outrage. Everything else is fucking boring. Everything is boring that isn't controversial or outrageous. And sometimes you want to see the boring. Sometimes the mundane is good. Sometimes you want to find out that things are going just fine. They're going normal. Things are progressing along. Sometimes you have educational subjects that you really just need straightforward information on. You don't want them to be controversial or outrageous. But my God, when you need a fix of that juicy juice, squeeze salaciousness dribbling down your chin, controversy and outrage is where it's at. Profiting on churning controversy and outrage is using this fabricated narrative as self-enriching. This is America. Like, when is self-enriching wrong? No one else is going to enrich you. Self-enriching is what you have to do, even if it means, like you're working for someone else or whatever. Self-enriching is the way. You're not going to get enriched by anybody else. Self-enriching clickbait, and has published it to his sizable audience. Ooh, put it on the table. Painting a target on Miss Wilkins for no reason other her, they left out other her association with FBI Director Kash Patel. They don't know any of that. There's no painting of a target that occurs. Like this is all just something that they made up. Let's see. Accordingly, Ms. Wilkins seeks to hold defendant accountable for his malicious and knowing lies, which are what? Lies is plural. We're gonna see those lies being some plural lies here. Parties plaintiff Alexis Wilkins is a resident and citizen of the United States and state of Tennessee. Defendant Elijah Schaffer is an individual who's a resident and citizen of the state of Florida. The one Marrero says, I'm super hurt, Nick, that you're profiting off my downfall with all these super chats. God damn it. It's very controversial and outrageous, which is why we love it. Also, send more. Just do that. That's your only directive here. And I am a Mossad agent convincing you to do that and manipulating you. Jurisdiction and venue. The court has subject matter jurisdiction over this cause of action pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1332. Because now the defamation claims are almost entirely always under state law. They're not, it's not a federal cause of action. It is a state cause of action. States tend to have a statute or they have common law built up around defamation. And that's how you engage it. Now, the federal courts will apply state defamation law, but it will be done federally if you have complete diversity of the parties, which means that plaintiffs and defendants, there's no similarly citizenshiped people like Elijah Schaffer's Florida. She's Tennessee. There's diversity of citizenship. And because the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. Now, the original amount in controversy I believe was $20, but it was $20 like, back in 1791, which is a lot of money. This is $75,000 on the amount in controversy. That does not mean that is automatically, if there's a judgment, that it'll exceed $75,000. It just means that there's a good faith estimate that $75,000 is the minimum amount of damage that's done. And that's the recompense you're asking for. You may only get $1 back. You may get $10 million back. It doesn't matter. Just what you're asking for has to be reasonably expected to be exceed $75,000. Now, when you're talking about doing damages to the wife or the girlfriend, of the director of the FBI, who's also a very successful country singer, according to this lawsuit, as we'll read, you're probably talking about getting well over $75,000 really quickly. Reputation repair costs a lot of money. The one Marrero says, I'm sold. Oh, now I feel bad, but thank you. Here we go. Captain Pants says, I'm haunted by a question that only you can answer, Nick. What if soup time isn't a glorious time? I know it should be, but what if it isn't? All I have to say is this, Captain Pants. Soup time, it's a glorious time. Okay, back to this. So here, this is diversity jurisdiction. If you don't have diversity jurisdiction to get into federal court, you need a federal question, violation of a federal law, or invoking a federal statute to bring the lawsuit. This is diversity jurisdiction, and that's why the court has jurisdiction over it. Defendant is subject to the personal jurisdiction in Florida because he's a Florida resident. This is really important. The court in question has to be able to force the defendant to come in, so they have to have jurisdiction over them. Venue for this action, they don't have to worry about the plaintiff because the plaintiff is voluntarily submitting to the forum by filing a lawsuit within that forum. She's from Tennessee, and what the fuck is going on here? Hold on, let me mute this. She's from Tennessee. So she is coming to Florida and saying, hey, I want to sue in a federal court in your state. Venue for this action is proper pursuant to 28 U.S.C. 1391 because defendant resides in this district. Also, it's likely that the majority of witnesses on the defense side, at least, will be approximately residing there. Plus, just for being the convenience of the forum, the plaintiff has indicated that, or will indicate that they probably have the resources to make it down to Florida from Tennessee whenever they need to. Factual background. So here we go. Here's the facts. This is what matters. The chairman Lamau says, big announcement, Chad. I just finished a Tootsie Pop without biting at all. Everything is going to be okay now. World peace incoming. You're welcome. Why would you do that? Does that mean you sucked the black part of the Tootsie Pop? Like once you got past the candy, like you sucked the little fudgy gross thing until it was gone? No chewing, no bites? Huh? Okay, Miss Wilkins is an American born in the United States. It's a weird, like, is an American, comma, born in the United States. Comma there is improper. You would just say she's an American born in the United States. There's no comma necessary. This is just shitty English. Maybe fucking. Where did they get their lawyer? A 7-Eleven? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I don't like Tootsie Rolls. I'm racist. She is a patriotic, conservative, Christian, patriotic, conservative, Christian, country music artist, and published writer who also works for conservative advocacy and educational company PragerU. Now, this is really important because what she's done right now is lay out that she's fucking important and famous and cool, which means she's basically just triggered the public figure doctrine, which is going to play a huge part in any defamation case. Public figure doctrine triggers New York Times versus Sullivan, and we have the actual malice standard in which if there is a public figure, then they have to show that the requisite amount of fault goes beyond mere negligence and must be actual malice. Actual malice means either knowledge of the falsehood or a reckless disregard for the truth of the matter. Reckless disregard for the truth of the matter in regards to a journalist, a citizen journalist or otherwise, effectively has meant that you investigated the matter to the same level that you investigated other matters that you would report on, that you're consistent here, rather than recklessly less thorough than normal. And that doesn't mean you have to be perfectly as thorough, or that you can't be slightly less thorough or whatever. It's just you can't be recklessly less thorough. Or you have to have, again, knowledge of the falsehood. To prove this out, this is where it gets hard. To prove this out, you typically need a statement from the defendant saying, I don't believe X, or I have serious doubts regarding X. You can't just say, well, they should know it's fake because I said so. Who fucking cares what you said? Nobody wants to listen to you. You're annoying, right? Like, no one cares about your own protestations. They're not required to believe you, especially in a matter of some sort of like a conspiratorial matter like this. They're not required to. I believe that she's a secret Mossad agent. Well, she isn't. Huh? You know what? I'm convinced. It's not how that works. Nobody believes that. Spying, espionage, and political influence, of course, the idea is that of course they're going to deny it, right? Like, that's the only thing that makes sense. The one Marrero says, it's okay, Ricada, I can just write off these super chats on my taxes. That's how it all works, right? Yes, and that is financial advice that you can take to the bank. Oh, here we go. We've got a super tip from Diamond. What's up, Steph? Listening in the bushes. Have to drive to Disneyland to pick up my adult kids and stepkids because they did not want to pay $40 for parking or an Uber. Good Lord, baby Jesus. Oh my God, I would have Venmoed him $40. Oh, look, maybe I'm a snob, but like little conveniences like parking, those are things that I will pay extra for to be closer. Holy shit, especially like at a place like Disneyland. If you've never parked at Disneyland or Disney World, either one, like paying for the VIP parking or whatever, it's like, wow, it's $80 instead of $40. It's like, yeah, pay it. Holy shit. Okay, so here we go. This is something that is so common in these lawsuits. Whoa, if I highlighted it, it goes away. Never mind then. So common in these lawsuits, you see it all the time. They're desperate to tell the court that they're really important. They're really important, and that's why, like, this is so damaging. And that's, that's part of the strategy. But in doing so, you effectively lay out the case. I mean, she is a country music artist, a published writer, works for conservative advocacy and educational company PragerU, highly influential, highly political company. It's pretty hard to suggest that she's not a public figure. She is in a long-term, he hopes, relationship with Cash Patel. His name is not fucking Cash App. It is not. It is not. It is not. It is not. Hey, Miss Jessica. Thank you. I love them too. Fucking Cash App Patel. Make sure you get your Cash App Venmo. Long-term relationship with Cash App Cash Patel, which began in January of 2023. This was widely known. Yet again, another, I'm a public figure. I'm public. Look at me. It was widely known. Everybody fucking knew it. We're so popular, right? And Miss Wilkins has posted photos of herself with Director Patel on Instagram as early as January 2024. Ms. Wilkins has posted many photos of herself with Cash Patel since then, both on Instagram and X. I'm public. I'm public. Pay attention to me. I'm public. 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 Need attention, girl? Cash, are you paying attention to her? She's very pretty. You should be. On November 30th, 2024, newly reelected President Donald J. Trump announced his intention to nominate Cash Patel as the next director of the FBI. On February 20th, 2025, the U.S. Senate confirmed Director Patel to that position. Defendant is an internet personality and CEO of Rift TV. So we've got this is Elijah Schaffer they're talking about. Defendant has over 841,800 followers on X, where his posts frequently reach tens of thousands of views and numerous reposts. They're setting him up again as a citizen journalist. They're setting it up that way right now. And it's funny because, like, you'd probably want to downplay Elijah Schaffer's popularity, and you'd want to downplay Miss Wilkins, especially because she's supposed to be a private citizen. This is definitely not a proxy. This isn't a proxy lawsuit for the government. Why the fuck would we do that? We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't be suing a private citizen over their like their communications about Israel. That'd be insane. Like the director of the FBI would be involved in that. It would be crazy. Like, that might look like there's actual Mossad involvement somewhere. Like, that's nuts. The one Marrero says, so, like, turns out I'm short on rent. Want to kind of send some of that back, buddy? Lamau, all right, last one. My bad. No, there are no refunds here. Posts frequently reach tens of thousands of views and numerous reposts. Defendant routinely posts politically charged content to generate controversy, prompting clicks, thereby driving engagement revenue. And again, that's legal, moral, ethical. It is all the things. Every single news outlet does that, especially if they're in the realm of politics. Defendant generates income through X's official monetization program, which pays him ad revenue sharing and rewards viral high engagement content. In other words, the more controversy defendant generates with his content, the more he gets paid. Yep, that's perfectly okay. On September 14th, 2025, X user Hen Mazig published a lengthy and girthy and detailed post about the prominent role female Mossad agents have played in Israel's sophisticated intelligence efforts against Iran, including by seducing top officials. I'm going to look, lady, I'm going to need you to fall on a sword. No, not that way. No, not that way. And that some of them reportedly seduced high-ranking enemy officials. XDJ Van says that's ludicrous, so Trump can sue everyone for their lies. And how many times have people screamed he should to hold people accountable? He can. But the director's girlfriend can't. How's that not hypocrisy? Why can't she? Who said she can't? The problem is that this looks like a proxy lawsuit that is being brought through a private citizen, but actually on behalf of Kash Patel or the FBI or just America in general, because of statements made about Mossad and Elijah's other statements about Israel. It's not that she can't sue. It's that this doesn't add up to a lawsuit currently. So it's just optics. What I'm saying is, like, the way they're going about this makes it problematic. It's going to make it harder to pursue the case. That's all. Like, not that she can't. I mean, you can sue anybody for anything at all times. People bring frivolous lawsuits all the time. People bring meritorious lawsuits that look frivolous all the time. Like, that all happens. And I don't know what any of this stuff is for sure. Like, I have my opinions on it, of course. So I have my opinions on everything. But it's not that she can't do it. And I think some of Trump's lawsuits, just for the record, have been dumb and ill-conceived, and they've failed as well. So, not all of them are dumb. But Trump's a public figure. It's open. I'm saying what she should be trying to do is downplay her public figure status personally. Say that, yeah, her, Kash may be director of the FBI. He's unquestionably a public figure, but she, is probably not. She keeps quiet. She's a country music singer, but, she's not a household name. I've never heard of this chick before. Like, I don't know anything about her, but they're telling me she's super famous. I mean, she writes for PragerU, but she doesn't, she's not in any of the videos or anything like that. She's just a writer that's in the background. She's credited in a couple things. Here's a list of her publications, but they should be downplaying her public figure status for the purpose of the lawsuit, in my opinion. I mean, it probably wouldn't work. She's the director of the FBI's girlfriend, but that's a strategy I think that they should be taking. Fly Crew says, are we sure she's not just another one of James O'Keefe's honeypots? That's a good question. It's a good question. Okay. Defendant. Yeah. The more he gets paid. So here's, we're going to read Hen Mazig's, okay. Can I? Nope. Where's the fucking Zoom? Okay, I'll just have to squint to do this. Sorry. Hen Mazig says, Mossad sent female, this is important. So this is the tweet that Elijah Schaffer retweeted with a picture of Kash and his girlfriend on it. Okay. So I'm going to read through it here as best as I can. This is what he's retweeting. Mossad sent female operatives deep into Iran, seducing top officials, infiltrating government surveillance networks, and carrying out sabotage missions. In one of the most audacious operations in its history, Mossad deployed dozens of female operatives into Iran earlier this year, with boots on the ground, executing missions that were critical to Israel's June strikes on Tehran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs. According to J-Post, Mossad Director David Barnea personally oversaw the unprecedented deployment, viewing the role of female agents as very substantial to Israel's success in the Israel-Iran war. While the exact nature of their missions remains classified, past revelations suggest that these women are more than spies. They are field operatives capable of surveillance, sabotage, and even kinetic strikes. Some of them reportedly seduced high-ranking enemy officials, infiltrated Iran's most sensitive installations, and coordinated targeting data for Israeli fighter jets. Brilliant, by the way. Barnea is said to have directed hundreds of operatives and local assets into action, running a complex network of Israeli spies, and recruited Iranian dissidents to dismantle key elements of the Ayatollah's war machine. The operations were so effective that Iran managed to mount a counterstrike only on the second day of the war. The report also reveals that Mossad now has precise intelligence on the location of Iran's enriched uranium stockpiles, information so sensitive that Israel could intervene again if Tehran attempts to weaponize its nuclear program. In a rare public nod to the contribution of women in Israeli intelligence, a senior Mossad officer, known only as G, holy shit, that guy's cool, with Iranian roots and expertise in recruiting foreign spies, shared this with the paper. In 2004, she was honored with lighting. Oh, that girl's cool. Sorry, sexist. She was honored with lighting a torch during Israel's Independence Day ceremony, a symbolic recognition of her covert contributions. And importantly, none of these women are fat. Not a single one. Promise you. The latest operation signals a new era for Israel's legendary spy agency, one where female operatives are not only breaking barriers, but also shaping the course of regional history. So that is, here we go. In a responsive comment or quote post, okay, published that same day, September 14th, 2025, defendant posted without caption a photograph of Ms. Wilkins arm in arm with Kash Patel, which she originally shared on her Instagram account in January 2024. In the photo, Ms. Wilkins and Patel are dressed up for a formal event, and Ms. Wilkins is wearing a fitted red halter neck cocktail dress. Now listen. I want you to look long and hard at this picture. Can I make this? I can't make it any bigger than this. I want you to look. She is way better looking than him. It's not even fucking close. There is no chance my man open bobbed and vagined his way into that dress. Like, holy shit. I mean, I don't, there's, you are, it's going to take a lot to convince me that this is an organic relationship that happened. Like, Kash is a wide dude. Like, I mean, she's tiny, obviously. And she's got to be like 105 pounds or less. He's 5'9". This puts her about 5'2", 5'3". Maybe 5'4", maybe. But I'm going to say 5'2" to 5'3". Yeah, she's got to be 100 pounds, 105 pounds. Kash looks like he likes zebra cakes, man. He's like, oh, a gas station. I can get a bunch of food here, and just comes out with a bunch of oatmeal cream pies. Wait, in Ghazi's is the same with Nick and April. No, what are you talking about? I'm much taller and skinnier than Kash. Don't do that to me. Don't I have that same dress? Yes. Yes, I do. I do. Cadino Doctor says Kash is not 5'9", shorter than that. Maybe. If he is, like, that puts her down at 5 feet. You know, she's got to be a very small woman. But she's very, very beautiful. Undeniable, right? He is less attractive, I think, is a nice way to put that. But yeah, it's money and power, as Miss Peachy Keen states. And Kash he's funny, and he's charming, he's well spoken, he's smart. Like, obviously, all those things. You don't get to be director of the FBI without a lot of those things involved. And when I met him, all of those things were obviously present. He's very personable and stuff like that. So, the indomitable Green Skull, thank you for being at the lawyer level for a month. Catch you later, Ryan, the editor. I'm seeing elsewhere cash is 5'7.5". Yeah, that I mean that would make sense. To again, that puts her down at 5 feet. Okay, so we got a fit check. Cash, being retarded, is wearing an orange striped tie while his girl is wearing a vibrant red dress. Wrong. Get the fuck out. Why aren't you wearing a red tie? There's nothing about your suit that says you should be wearing orange when she's wearing red. My God, man, what are you doing? Come on, this is a formal event. Otherwise, his suit is very basic. You know, I guess it's like a dark gray to black suit. It's hard to tell if there's, with the lighting, it could be something else, but that's what it looks like. His suit fits okay, I guess, but I'm seeing low effort here. A white shirt, very boring. You got a white shirt, a white and orange tie. At least the tie coordinates with the shirt, but it doesn't coordinate with her dress. Her dress is fantastic. I don't know what the event is. It says dressed up for a formal event. This looks like a semi-formal event. I mean, this is a cocktail dress. If it was a formal event, a true formal event, I think she'd wear a longer dress, or more, a little bit more accented and highlighted dress. I love cocktail dresses. Don't get me wrong here. Make no mistake. I think it looks great on her. We can't see how long it is, but we can assume it's short because she's a banger. So that's what she's going to wear. Posture check. They're both doing okay. He's doing a little bit of the lean in. A lot of that's probably due to her shortness, I'm guessing. But she's very erect, very rigid, straight up and down, very strong stance. Cash is, his line is pretty close. So we got to give him pretty high marks on it. Google more pics of them. Michael Pack NW, you have no idea, man. If you have no idea the non-truth of that statement, I'm going to sue you for defamation. Defendants posted the photo received massive engagement with 1.5 million views, at least 38,000 likes, hundreds of comments, and thousands of reposts and bookmarks. So there you go. Twisted says you're doing a lot on Locals these days. We have member exclusive content on Locals and YouTube simultaneously, at least once a week now. That's a priority. Tends to happen over the weekends, at least over the weekends, if not also during the week. So I don't know if that's doing a lot on Locals, but it is spending significant time on Locals and also the YouTube members as well. While defendant may not have included any caption to spell out the meaning of his post, he didn't have to. Well, you say so. Ever since Kash Patel was appointed as director of the FBI in February 2025, the conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading. That's not Elijah Schaffer, by the way. This is important. Again, the conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have been spreading a false narrative that Ms. Wilkins is an Israeli Mossad agent, spy, or honeypot who's only in relationship with Kash Patel to spy on and manipulate the United States government. Now, we have, again, this is one of those self-creating problems. You've heard of self-defeating problems, but this is a self-creating problem, because if she is a secret intelligence asset of a foreign government, right, an agent of Mossad, that's necessarily going to be secret, which means her denials or them claiming that it's false are effectively meaningless, because your belief and the reasonableness of your belief that she is in fact, a compromising agent of a foreign government can't be undermined by a denial, because the denial must happen. Even if she were a Mossad agent, 100% through and through, and it could be proven, she would deny it. That she would have to. She would have to. So this is a generative problem, because we're generating issues here in the lawsuit. Now we've attenuated this from Elijah Schaffer by saying conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media have, since February, it's September when he posts this, since February, been spreading this false narrative. But how is anyone to know that it's false? How is anyone to verify the truth or falsity of the statement? It's impossible to do so. She can't be trusted on it. Neither can Kash Patel, because if he's like, yeah, she is a Mossad agent, then he's even more compromised than anyone thinks. But ideally, he wouldn't know. So he's not reliable either. Okay? It's a problem, because Elijah Schaffer is relying on conspiracy from conspiratorial corners of the internet and social media. You can do that to form your opinions. You know why? Because they're often right, much more often than anyone wants to believe, right? Like, imagine if back in 2014, the U.S. government sued everybody who said that the U.S. government was monitoring the social media communications of 96% of Americans, all of them, every single one of them, and storing them at NSA facilities in Ohio and Indiana, and I think Utah. And we're building more NSA facilities that were just literally server farms to store the billions and billions of communications that were happening every day from 96% of Americans. If they would have sued them all for defamation, because even though that was happening, the U.S. government denied it, and Edward Snowden showed it to be true through PRISM. PRISM was the name, the code name of the project that did it. And it captured every social media communication of anybody who was, I think, 3 steps removed from a foreign agent or a foreign asset on social media, which means that if you were friends with someone, and then they're friends with someone, they're friends with someone, and then that person is connected to a foreign agent or asset, your communications were subject to government surveillance. Once they got called out on this, they reduced it to 2 steps removed rather than 3 steps removed, which brought it from like 96% to something like 74%. Still 74% of American communications are and were captured by the NSA. Allegedly, they are not read until a warrant is executed, and then that warrant is executed in reverse on old data. But we don't need to get into this. That was a conspiracy, but it was fucking true. It was fucking true. And the government tried to shut down anybody who talked about it. And the one guy who exposed it, I mean, he ended up having to move to Russia, right? Even though he was 100% correct. That's what they did. So how could you say that that someone who's reading about these conspiracies or whatever, coming to the conclusion that she must be a honeypot that is in the employ of a foreign government, how can you say that they're able to be knowingly wrong? They can't be, unless they state that they're knowingly wrong. But you can form these opinions. You're allowed to believe the wrong thing about people. It's amazing. Defendant's wordless reply to Mr. Mazig's lengthy description of female Mossad agents who seduced high-ranking enemy officials, juxtaposing a carefully chosen photograph. They don't know if this photograph was carefully chosen. Like, these are superfluous words, of Ms. Wilkins in a sleeveless red dress, embracing the director of the FBI. Is she embracing him? I actually don't see an embrace from her. I see an embrace from him. I see his arm around her. I don't see an embrace. What are you talking about? Liars. Why isn't she holding him? Why isn't her arm around him? Embracing the director of the FBI. Unmistakably. Oh, Hedy Lamar. It's around to stay. Embracing the director of the FBI. Unmistakably accuses Miss Wilkins of being a Mossad agent for Israel. It actually doesn't. Who has seduced Director Patel to compromise him. a honeypot. It doesn't. It doesn't say that. It's not unmistakably accusing that. It's potentially mistakeably accusing that. And it might be correct in the accusation, but it's not unmistakable. It can be mistaken. The insidious insinuation understood by an ordinary viewer as evidenced below. This is a stretch because they're going to say that an Elijah Schaffer follower is an ordinary viewer. Is that Miss Wilkins is a spy for a foreign government, conducting espionage to undermine our national security and to manipulate federal law enforcement at the highest level, and even committing treason. These accusations are all categorically false, and defendant knows it. He didn't say any of that. He doesn't say any of that. And defendant knows it. I love that. That's the closest they get to saying knowledge of the falsity in all of this. Defendant's viewers interpreted his post to be calling Miss Wilkins a Mossad agent. In response, one ex-user stated, "Imagine her face when Mossad told her what her job was going to be." Oh, that's a dick move. See, how do they know that that's not a joke? This is a legitimate question because they always do stuff like this. They're always like, "Oh, well, someone on Twitter said this," and you're like, "Okay, how do you know that's not a fucking joke, you idiot?" Like, how do you know? No, someone said it. So what? I'm gonna find this real quick. It was back in September. Oh, here we go. Here's another Kash Patel looking super handsome, along with his girlfriend who is she wearing chaps over jeans, like denim chaps over jeans? I don't like this look, guys. I don't like this. She's got dark blue jeans. She's got a big belt. It looks like fucking light blue denim chaps over the top. That's not great. I don't know. Hold on, we're gonna get down to this is all. Oh, he's one of these guys who tweets like 1 billion times a day. God damn it, Elijah. November 9th. Fuck me. Elijah has a habit of posting Jews. I saw a bunch of Ben Shapiro on there. We're only on November 7th. Fucking hell. Hello. What? Sorry, I just got distracted for a minute. Oh, we're only on November 5th. I'm not doing this. Okay. I was trying to see like how many responses he had. It said it had like 38,000 likes or something, right? Where the fuck was that? Do you guys remember seeing that? I feel like I remember seeing that. Okay, yeah. Defendant's post received 1.5 million views, at least 38,000 likes, hundreds of comments, and thousands of reposts. You have no idea where the allegiance lies on 38,000 likes, hundreds of comments. You have no idea what any particular commenter is from. You have no idea if that's an Elijah Schaffer fan or viewer, if someone who hates him. You can't tell. Okay, so here we go. But yeah, imagine her face when Mossad told her what her job was going to be. That's a joke. That's a funny joke, by the way, because like, oh, by the way, you have to go fuck Kash Patel. Like, that's the joke. That's hilarious. Because like, fuck. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. And another stated that Director Patel was offered a Mossad wifey. Okay. Yeah, so here we go. Imagine her face when Mossad told her what her job was going to be. Lamau, Lamau, Lamau. His application for an FBI director stated show Bob's and Vagine. Then he was offered a Mossad wifey. He just had to make the pledge. Full support, sir. These are jokes. These are obvious jokes. Which this, the reason I laugh and scream about it is because this really matters. This really matters on this because this is their thing. They're like, see, even the internet believed Elijah Schaffer. It's like, dude, these are just jokes ripping on cash, or Indian men in general. Like that's what they're doing. They have nothing to do with any belief or endorsement of the actual fucking issue here.
On an unrelated note, a man who made a documentary on the Indian poop thawing festival has decided not to air it from the thousands of death threats from Indian accounts.
People on the internet are posting deodorant and toilet paper forts for his protection.
Yeah, I heard about that. First of all, first I'm hearing of an Indian poop throwing festival. Not helping the accusations, y'all. But hey, you know, to each country and culture their own thing. Holy shit. But yeah, he's there and he didn't air it, and he's like, it is so much worse. It's so much worse than you could possibly imagine. He aired it today. Oh my God, we might have to watch it. Oh fuck, that's gross. Okay, all right. So here we go. Paragraph 16 is defendant intended this defamatory implication. Which defamatory implication? Defendant frequently posts anti-Israel rhetoric, and now we get to spreading the jelly, so to speak, of these problems, accusing Israel of controlling the United States and its politicians. Elijah says Trump doesn't want to admit that Netanyahu doesn't fear him. Israel has more control over the USA than we do over them. Our politicians are hook, line, and sinker sold out to the Jewish state regime. It's genuinely disheartening. We must remove those parasites from AIPAC. So that's responding to Disclosed TV, saying Israeli officials say Trump approved the Iran attack. We had a clear U.S. green light, adding reports of Trump restraining Israel were planted to deceive, while Trump and Netanyahu coordinated the attack in private, according to Axios. So Elijah's responding to a story about Israeli influence in the United States and Israel having effectively to get a green light on making making attacks, et cetera, et cetera. He's responding to that story here. This isn't an anti-Israel post. This is, are we sure we want this in our government? In our government, this is a USA question here. But this is that. My entire feed is just about people glazing Israel and defending the occupation of our nation. It's incredible. All happened after the forced TikTok sale on behalf of the ADL. This was mentioned earlier. He's quoting, he's got Brandon Tatum, a picture of Brandon Tatum tweet there. He says, you either get Israel-controlled politicians who hate you or foreigners who hate you. Welcome to America. I hate it here. So he's expressing frustration. Like, this is Karishma Manzer. I'll be blunt. We're being outspent in this race and fast. We are 100% AIPAC free. My opponent has received over 800,000 from AIPAC. Every single dollar. So this is a donation call from someone who's not funded by AIPAC, trying to stay away from American or Israeli influence. And Elijah's lamenting the funding gap there. And then he says, it breaks my heart what Trump could have been if he wasn't a slave to Israel. Tragic. I mean, so far, again, even if you don't agree with them, these are reasonable criticisms of U.S. government officials and U.S. government policy. It is reasonable to believe that the U.S. government gives too much favor, too much money, too much attention, too many resources, too much power to Israel. Like that's a reasonable thing to do. Here he says, our politicians serve Israel. They hate us. Imagine telling our founding fathers that in the future we'd be ruled by brown women who serve a foreign state. Very offensive. Very offensive. Katrina Pearson says something wearing an Israeli shirt or pro-Israel shirt. No, it's a Texas shirt, but it's in Jewish text, whatever the fuck that's called. 200-watt Studio 8 says went from APU to FBI. God damn it. Poo.
Cash is suing because people don't believe he could pull a chick that hot. I mean, I don't either. Do you, my nigga?
No, I don't think he could at all. I mean, except for his fame and notoriety. I think his fame and notoriety bring the ability of pulling a girl like that is, that gives him the in, I think. But yeah, I mean, who knows what he's actually suing over and what his actual motivations are here, but she seems to be being used here as a proxy for Cash or the FBI, a government agent suing a private citizen. Jewish text like Hebrew. I mean, I guess if that's what you want to call it. Elijah says, Israel will kill more of us before they'll let their power of the U.S. government and UN slip. And that's in response from delegates from multiple nations walk out of Netanyahu's General Assembly address. All right, on to paragraph 18. Defendant also has disdain for Director Patel, recently referring to him as a traitor with a footnote. Oh, and it's got a link. I can actually pull this up. I can't pull it up. Oh my God, it actually copied the little boxes instead of copying the fucking text. Hold on. X.com / Elijah Schaffer / status / 192043591600890276. Did we get it? Banker fingers are still working, baby. So here we go. Elijah Schaffer says, with the treasonous appointment of Casey Means, it's safe to say that I don't believe the Trump administration has our best interests in mind anymore. There are still some good people doing their jobs. Bondi, Patel, Means. It's like the traitor Olympics at this point. Wow. So he didn't just say he was a traitor. He said he was like the best kind. 200-watt Studio 8 says, will Dick and Balls be called as witnesses? Yes. Yes. Put your ass in my asshole. So this is response to the nomination of Casey Means, First Surgeon General. Yeah. Bondi Patel Means it's like the traitor Olympics at this point. So that's him calling Cash a traitor, apparently. But I don't know if that's disdain. I don't know if that's disdain. I mean, he thinks he's a traitor. A defendant knowingly or with reckless disregard for the truth fabricated this accusation at the expense of Miss Wilkins. No, he didn't. This is a lie. You said that he borrowed someone else's, that other people were saying this, generating outrage to drive up his viewership and engagement, thereby resulting in monetary gain and further notoriety. Minimally, defendant acted negligently in doing so. Negligence won't get you there, honey. Okay, so that's the fact section facts as according to them. Robot Glock, that's just mean. That's just mean. Okay. Cause of action, count 1, defamation. Plaintiff incorporates by reference the above paragraphs as though set forth fully herein. Why as though? It would just be as set forth fully herein, not as though set forth. Okay. On September 15th, defendant defamed Miss Wilkins, this is a legal conclusion. They'll ignore that. Posting a carefully selected photograph of her in a fitted, sleeveless red dress, arm in arm with Director Patel in a response to a post about Mossad female operatives. How do we know that this is carefully selected? How do we know this at all? Robert Glock, I read everything. Actually, I actually don't. I used to be better at it. I'm not as good at it right now. Maybe because I don't have a stimulant running through my head. In making this post, defendant posted an actual, literally true photograph. This is a weird sentence of Ms. Wilkins and Director Patel in response to a lengthy post about Mossad female operatives. Again, what did he mean by it? Well, he meant this. How do you know? How do you know what Elijah meant to post? And that's something that you really need to think about for a second, because you're going to go before the court and say under oath that you know he posted it for this purpose. But what if you're wrong? Nice $20 glasses. Yeah, these are gas station glasses. I said that earlier. I'm looking, I want to, I went back to the gas station where we got them and looked for other colors, and they didn't have anything like this at all. And it pisses me off because I want to find a whole bunch more like it. It's because I have different suits that are different colors than blue. So the post reasonably implies that Ms. Wilkins herself is a Mossad agent manipulating and in control of Director Patel. How? How does it reasonably imply that? Like, honestly, how does it do that? It does if you believe that's what it does, right? If you believe that's what it says, then that's what it reasonably implies. But only if you pre-believe that. Hedy Lamar, I don't know why we love Nick, but why do you love Nick? You can tell me. Because we love Nick. Oh my gosh. This implication is categorically false and is so obviously damaging to her reputation that damages are presumed. Holy shit. So not only are they saying that this is implied defamation, but this is implied defamation per se because it's obviously damaging. That's not, as far as I know, defamation per se. Let's see what the rule is. Certain statements. So the categories of defamation per se are criminal activity, infectious or loathsome disease, unfitness for profession, sexual misconduct, or lack of chastity. That is the 4 categories of defamation per se. I guess criminal activity, if you're suggesting that, foreign influence, foreign agency, compromising a U.S. official would be criminal activity. Although it's questionable whether that's criminal or not to do that. I don't know that there's a statute against that. It's a caution. It's something they should watch out for. But I don't know if we're going to make it. I don't know if that's defamation per se, Miss Wilkins depends on her reputation as a patriotic American in her profession. Which one? Country singer or Mossad agent? Both as a country music artist and working for PragerU. And this is a bad statement. Again, Miss Wilkins depends on her reputation as a patriotic American in her profession, puts her in that public figure status. Public figure status makes it so much harder to carry a defamation case. But all over this document, they're like, she's a public figure. She's really amazing. The implication imputes the commission of various crimes, including espionage and treason. There you go. I mean, I guess it would depend what they did, like what the compromise was. Like, what if she was just convincing him to go to Costco over Sam's Club? As evidenced by defendants' postings about Israel controlling the United States, as well as his disdain. See, this is crazy. His postings about Israel controlling the United States and his disdain for Director Patel. Defendant intended and endorsed this inference. So they're suing for defamation by implication, which is a really, really difficult cause of action because you have to, the implication has to be obvious and notorious. Silicon Player 3184 says, getting much better on the glasses that make fun of Kurt, but also don't look horrible. I just like sunglasses, man. I like them. It's more comfortable doing the show in them too. Let's see, what do we got? Defendant intended to endorse this inference. Defendant has malice towards Ms. Wilkins because of her relationship with Director Patel. And I don't know why they always do this. Every fucking lawyer does this. In defamation cases, they talk about malice. But malice is irrelevant. You can maliciously state something or not. It's irrelevant to defamation. Actual malice is a legal term of art that has almost nothing to do with malice itself. Like the general concept of malice is divorced from actual malice. Actual malice doesn't have any regard for your feelings about the person. That's malice, right? Actual malice is you have knowledge of the falsity or reckless disregard for the truth of the matter. Now, the implication would be that you are malicious, like your knowledge of the falsity is ignored because of your malice towards a person. But it doesn't matter if it's malicious or not in the sense. And they always say this. They always do this. Oh, defendant has malice. It's like, stop. And they didn't lay this out. Defendant has malice towards Ms. Wilkins because of her relationship with Director Patel. That doesn't make any sense. It's a much more reasonable accusation would be that Elijah has malice towards her because he believes she's a Mossad agent and he doesn't like Israel, as evidenced by the posts that we cited. I don't think that those posts actually say that he doesn't like Israel. Maybe that he doesn't like U.S. policy regarding Israel. Those are different things. But at least that would be a consistent statement. He didn't do anything. They didn't do anything to show that he has some animus towards her because of the relationship that she has with Director Patel. Like, that's irrelevant. Defendant published his defamatory implication to over 1 million viewers. I mean, 1.5 million people saw the tweet. That doesn't actually mean that 1.5 million people like saw the tweet. Knowing that it was false, with reckless disregard for the truth, or at best negligently. Wait, huh? just say the things. There is absolutely no reason outside defendant's desire to stir up controversy and generate income for himself. Well, but that's a reasonable reason. That's a reasonable purpose. To accuse Ms. Wilkins, an American-born country singer, of being a foreign agent engaged in espionage. Well, unless you're concerned about foreign agents being engaged in espionage with our high-level officials because a fucking slayer of a chick being with a weirdo-looking dude named Cash Patel, like his name is Cash App. Oh my God! But like you're like, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. That he would be in this position. Now, of course, the counter argument is that the honeypot was offered to him in 2023, well before he would be nominated to the director of the FBI. Like, that's what they're trying to claim early on. But here's the thing: a honeypot could be generated after the relationship started. Like if Mossad or, like a foreign agency approached this woman and said, hey, if you can gather this information on this person, or if you can find out these habits and report them to us, etc., we'll compensate you handsomely, to the tunes of, several $1 million, or bringing you into our country and protecting you from the United States and then giving you a wonderful life that you can live forever. Like, all of those things can happen after the relationship starts. So it's not necessary that she entered into the relationship as a honeypot. She could become a honeypot in the middle of it. I'm not saying she is. I have no idea. I don't fucking care. But let's see. Defendant entirely fabricated the story, but he didn't. You said over and over that these stories were being told. And what story did he fabricate? He literally is posting a picture on a retweet of someone else's story. So he didn't fabricate a story. This type of drafting really pisses me off. What they should have said is defendant furthers a false narrative, knowingly furthers a false narrative against the plaintiff. That's what they should be saying here. But the problem is This lawsuit is bananas. Entirely fabricated the story to generate engagement revenue for himself and his company and to indulge in his obvious animus against Director Patel and against Miss Wilkins for being in a relationship with Director Patel. There's no evidence that Elijah Schaffer gives a shit that she's in a relationship with Cash. At no point has defendant reached out to Miss Wilkins. Oh, yeah, that's going to work. She has publicly stated prior to defendant's statements, this is a problem for them again, that the allegations regarding her affiliation with Israel are false. Prior to defendant's statements, she is addressing these allegations publicly. You're fucked. You're a public figure, at least limited purpose public figure now. Automatically. Now you're in actual malice because they've stated here that she's engaged the public to fight on this. And it was prior to Elijah's involvement. He's not bringing her out. He's not the one causing her to address this. She was addressing it before he said anything. Now, again, the way of espionage, it's like someone who denies it makes me more likely to believe it's true. It doesn't matter. They have set themselves up for such a hard fucking fight here. This is drafted almost thoughtlessly. So here we go. Minimally, defendant has acted negligently, which won't be enough. However, his obvious animus combined with the inherently ludicrous nature of this implication are ample evidence that he acted with actual malice. Again, animus and inherently ludicrous nature of the implication are not actual malice, you fucking tard. That's not how it works. That's not the legal standard. Knowledge of the falsity or reckless disregard for the truth. That's it. That's actual malice. You don't get to add other shit. You don't get to make it up. You're not Cardozo. You're not good enough. Considering the context of defendant's various ex-posts about Israel, a reasonable person would understand the defendant's statements are not mere hyperbole. He didn't make statements. He didn't make them. No statements about Wilkins. He made statements about Israel. Which one is it? Which statements are you going after? And his viewers did, in fact, take him seriously as evidenced by the replies to defendant's posts. Again, they mentioned 38,000 likes, and they showed 2 replies that were obvious jokes about her being a foreign agent. They were jokes making fun of Cash Patel or Indian men. Like, that's what they were doing. And they're taking those, and all they got was 2. How many fucking replies are there on that post? What's up? Jim Tells You, rating the stream. Welcome to the Jim Tells You audience. The defamatory implication has directly and proximately caused Miss Wilkins to suffer significant damages, including damage to her reputation, humiliation, and embarrassment. The nature of which is ongoing and long-lasting. These damages were foreseeable and intended by defendant. Now, here's the thing. Humiliation and embarrassment are not remediable by a court of law. Humiliation and embarrassment, there's not like a monetary compensation for them. You're not being made economically whole through humiliation and embarrassment because there's not an obvious economic damage there. And the courts can't repair non-economic damages, except in some states and certain circumstances, they do pain and suffering and stuff like that. But typically it's economic damages. Damage to her reputation, that is quantifiable because you quantify it by bringing in a firm whose job is reputation repair, and they come up with an estimate on how much it's going to cost to repair the damage done to the reputation, etc. But this idea that humiliation and embarrassment are there, no, sorry. Likely you're not going to be able to be counted in damages. Defendant published the defamatory statements knowingly. I'm sorry. What defamatory statements? They said over and over that Elijah did not caption the photo post. So there are no statements that he's made about this woman. All of his statements that they mention are other tweets about Israel. So what do we got going on here? What the fuck is this? Defamatory statements. Which ones? Knowingly, intentionally, willfully, wantonly, and maliciously. Or wait a minute. There were some other statements mentioned there, weren't there? There were two other statements that weren't about Israel, right? Who are they about? That's right. They were about Kash Patel. XDJ Van says, can one not adopt another's words as their own? You can, but Elijah Schaffer didn't do that. He didn't do that at all. There are no words where there's nowhere where he said, these are my words. I've adopted them. I've given them my last name now. That's clearly what he did. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. He retweeted a post. A retweet does not imply endorsement. It does not imply adoption. It doesn't anything. It might be an endorsement or an adoption. It might be any of those things, but it might not at the same time. Billdozer also sent a raid over on Rumble. Oh, thank you, Billdozer, for raiding. Welcome to the Billdozer viewers. See, this is a problem. Like Elijah, and the same thing happened in the Gina Carano lawsuit. And it's really important that it did, because that's in a completely different context, but it's the same thing. Gina Carano found an interesting tweet and used the retweet feature on Twitter. And she was fired for it because they said she was promoting Nazism. She said, I presented it with completely neutrally. Just put it on there to spark conversation. And the court agreed with Gina Carano on that, as they should have. As they should have agreed with her on that, because there was no words adopting the language. There's nothing else. You can repost something and say, what do you think? Or what is this? How does this affect you? And stuff like that. And not actually adopt the language here. What if he was posting a picture of Kash Patel as a cautionary expression to Kash to say, hey, watch out for these fucking Mossad agents? It has nothing to do with his girlfriend at all. You may think that that's ludicrous, and that's okay. But what if he did? Okay, so defendant published defamatory statements knowingly, intentionally, willfully, wantonly, and maliciously, all of the Lees, with intent to harm Ms. Wilkins, or in blatant disregard for the substantial likelihood of causing her harm, thereby entitling Ms. Wilkins to an award of punitive damages. I mean, I would argue that if I'm taking the other philosophical side, again, I think Elijah is not in the wrong here. I think we have a First Amendment for a reason. But let's say I go, okay, he wants to harm someone. I think it's more likely that he's trying to harm Kash Patel than he's trying to harm her. You know, based on his statement that Kash is a traitor and all that stuff. Like it seems more likely that he's targeting Kash rather than the woman. I think Kash isn't noticing the honeypot. But that's me. Yeah, and a blatant disregard for the substantial likelihood of causing her harm, thereby entitling her to award of punitive damages. As a direct and proximate result of the misconduct of defendant, Ms. Wilkins is entitled to compensatory, special, and punitive damages in the sum of $5 million or such greater amount as is determined by the jury. Juggalo Debo says, we love Nick because he loves Dick. I do love Dick. Prayer for relief, wherefore plaintiff Alexis Wilkins respectfully requests this court to enter a judgment in her favor and grant relief against defendant as follows. An award of compensatory, special, and punitive damages in excess of $5 million, such other and further relief as the court deems just and appropriate to protect Ms. Wilkins' rights and interests. And I mean, all right, that's the lawsuit that we have here. This looks like a proxy lawsuit on behalf of a U.S. government official through a private citizen for whatever reason. It does not look like a lawsuit that is genuinely from Miss Wilkins. It looks like it's coming from Kash Patel. It looks like the U.S. government is attempting to silence a citizen journalist on certain issues that make them uncomfortable for whatever reason. Doesn't mean that those issues are true. Just means they don't want someone prominent talking about them. I think this is a big misstep. A big misstep. Because again, as Elijah mentioned in his video, Kash Patel has private communications with this woman that can be used to prove out the relationship. So now you're exposing potentially the director of the FBI and his private communications could potentially become public nature of the, could be published publicly by the courts as evidence in this lawsuit. It'd be really hard to try and quash the inclusion of those as like matters of national security, which is something you would normally do, except for the fact that she probably doesn't have a top level security clearance and he can't text her matters of national security. This has a huge recipe for massive embarrassment. But let's talk about a couple things. Is the implication that she's a honeypot defamatory, worthy of compensation? Like, is it? Is the implication that she's a honeypot? Like, let's assume that he is implying that. Is the implication sufficient? Does that rise to the level of being a defamatory statement? You say, I mean, look at her, look at him. Then she's got Mossad written all down the side of her, right? Is that defamatory? Really? Is that worth $5 million? Is that what we want our government doing? Is that what we want our courts doing? The shit that people say about each other, like that is actually defamatory, that happens every day, that courts reject constantly, is is far more in-depth, far more damaging than this type of stuff. Yeah, I see people say it's only defamatory if it's not true. Not just that. Again, since she's a public figure and the nature of the claims here being that of conspiracy and espionage, since those things are there's no there's no vetting method for Elijah Schaffer. Elijah Schaffer can't call her up and be like, "Are you Mossad?" Because she'll say no, right? Like, that's obvious. She'd say, "No, I'm not. Of course not. That's crazy." And that's unreliable. She can't be trusted to give the truth on that, because to do so would be to compromise her position. It necessarily is self-defeating. So he doesn't have a way. He doesn't have a way to get to knowledge of that it's false or reckless disregard for the truth. I mean, there are ways that you could, in theory, do that, but not in this case. I mean, maybe like it'd be harder to say like an 8-year-old or something is a Mossad agent that's trained to be a honeypot. Although they may exist, it'd be harder to say that. It'd be harder to make that claim than some other woman. The things that go against the claim, obviously, are the length of their relationship. Like that's actually about it. The only thing would be the length of their relationship. She can be like, I was slumming with Kash before he was cool. But it's this lawsuit does not look good. It doesn't look good for Kash Patel. And again, his law firm is running this lawsuit. That's something to remember. That's kind of a critical detail here. Because again, if this is a proxy lawsuit to sue a journalist as a U.S. government agent, and you're going through an American citizen to do so, that's bad. That's a bad thing. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be doing your fucking job. All right. Kash Patel is, his law firm is running this. His foundation is funding it. We may have a conflict of interest going on there as well. You've got some serious problems in this case. So this doesn't look good. This doesn't look good at all. And again, I don't believe that Elijah Schaffer defamed anybody with this. He retweeted something that someone else wrote. And in Twitter's terms of service says directly that retweets are not endorsements, are not like, that's not whatever. Retweets are just a repost of the thing. It's neutral. You have to look to other sources to find out if it's, if it's got some meaning behind it. But he retweets something with no caption at all, adds a picture of Kash and his girlfriend. Adds a picture, by the way, if there were Mossad agents compromising U.S. officials, Kash Patel is the guy who would literally investigate it. So you got another problem there, because Elijah has an easy defense in saying, look, I'm posting the guy who's supposed to clean up the fucking problem. And it kind of looks like he might have a problem. I don't know. But he doesn't say any of that in his post. They're going to drag it out of him now. If they can. Buildozer74 says, what is the likelihood of dismissal? Let's talk about that. Florida has an anti-slap. If you say this is a frivolous lawsuit with the intention of curtailing free speech and participation in the public forum, they've got to overcome all of the elements of defamation in there. Like, assuming everything stated is true, do you lay out a prima facie case for defamation? It's the same thing that pretty much every anti-slap has, except for a couple. But most of them have this idea that, like, in the case, you have to lay out or in your document, you have to lay out a prima facie case. You also have to provide some level of evidence for it. And I don't think they make it here. I don't think they make it. One of the main reasons is they don't have the requisite level of fault. They state that he did it with actual malice, but they didn't provide anything to show the actual malice, to provide any reckless disregard. There's no statements that he's entertaining serious doubts about the truth of the matter. There's no statement saying, I didn't even look into it. I don't care. Kash Patel's just a piece of shit, and so I assumed it's true. There's nothing like that. In fact, there isn't even a statement to go against. And these are the big problems in this case. The anti-slap, if it is effective, it will stop discovery immediately. What it would do is it would stop discovery. It would basically be a motion to dismiss. And if Elijah Schaffer were victorious, he would then be automatically awarded attorney's fees from this woman. So, an anti-slap could, and that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars very, very easily on a case like this. So, the stakes are pretty high on the anti-slap, and if Elijah loses the anti-slap, then they would just go on. But, anti-slaps stay discovery. He seemed to be interested in discovery when he was doing his video, so he may not want to do that. We'll see.
I just watched the horror of a baked salad. Shaky Hands micropene didn't show the end product, which means he threw it away.
I don't know if he can throw away food. I mean, I think he threw it away in his mouth. His mouth is a garbage can. So there we go, guys. There's the Elijah Schaffer lawsuit. I'll probably record a summary video tomorrow to really bring it down, like where maybe I just talk about it in the abstract and like not go through line by line and stuff. Cause obviously this took 2 hours to do that and things, but, and I'd like to make something a little bit more digestible for people. So if you see that video, it will probably be a little different than what you just watched. Please share it around, spread the word. Like this is this is the director of the FBI using his girlfriend to sue a private citizen journalist. Like that's scary. That's really terrifying. because the implication, she's a citizen journalist, he's not involved. The implication is the director of the FBI is watching you, right? What else can they do to you? Janvier, you don't ever have to apologize for cursing here. Hedy Lamar, good night. Good night. Good to see you. It's been too long. I was glad to see you in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. Someone is probably looking into her, though. Could be asked to step down, but then it makes him look guilty. Lol, I think my brain is running in circles and repeating what you just said. Yeah, I mean, it makes it tough. Them filing this lawsuit is infinitely more suspicious than Elijah's retweet. Not necessarily more suspicious that she's a Mossad agent. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to get into that. I have no fucking idea. But it gives you the idea that something is amiss, that they don't like something. They don't like something Elijah said. They don't like whatever. It doesn't matter exactly what it is because they don't like it. And the fact that they're doing this, that again, it means the FBI is watching you. And it means that the government is using a proxy to sue you. Because if the government were suing him, you gotta like, they'd be fucked immediately. And I missed your last super. Oh shit. 200 Watt Studio says, why don't 7-Elevens have ATMs? Because cash me outside. I like it. Very good. Okay, I have a couple other stories to talk about, though. We're gonna keep an eye on that one. I don't know if Elijah's gonna be up for doing any interviews on it. It's gonna really depend on that's really going to depend on what his legal team does and what their strategy is. If there's any opportunity for an interview about it, I will definitely try and bring him to the show so that we can talk about it. Or if not with him, then with his lawyers and stuff. I don't know if they're going to want to do anything like that, but we'll see. All right. So here we go, guys. This is the next story. Like, this is, I had these stories kind of ready to go. I was grabbing some other ones and I saw the Elijah thing. This is pretty big, though, honestly. The Olympics set to ban all transgender athletes for Los Angeles 2028. But a fight, this is UK, Daily Mail or whatever, rages over whether those with Iman Khalif's reported condition will be able to compete. So a ban on transgender women competitors is strongly expected to be in place for the 2028 Olympics, but it remains unclear if there will be barriers against athletes with differences of sexual development after the boxing furor at Paris 2024. So differences of sexual development, I mean, like there's some big bitches. That's that. Under the existing, like they had high testosterone or whatever, and someone like shoved the penis inside. I'm not sure. But they're not actually trans. They're genetically female, but they have a high testosterone development, and so their bone structure and their muscle structure is different and just unfairly superior. Under the existing rules, each sport is empowered to decide if transgender women can compete if their testosterone levels fall below a designated threshold. But the International Olympic Committee, under new president Christy Coventry, is in discussions about a dramatic policy shift that would impose a blanket ban across all sports for Los Angeles Games. Such a move would prevent the kind of scenario that saw Laurel Hubbard contest weightlifting at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021. Hubbard transitioned in 2012. And there is no circumstance in which a former man should be allowed to compete against biological women. It just, not in a physical contest. It just shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Muscle and bone structure are different. And there's nothing you can do to overcome that hormone difference. Like there's nothing there. It's not possible to overcome it. Like these are people at the highest level And that hormone difference will make the difference. Like it just will do that. It's crazy. Even if the person doesn't win, it gives them an unfair advantage over all of the other competitors, because they'd be knocking other people out of the top 10 or top 3 or whatever it is, even if they don't win. While Olympic sources have confirmed that such a measure is very much the direction of travel, it is highly unlikely to come into force before the Winter Olympics in Italy next February. One report suggested that a rule change could be announced in February, but insiders estimate it might take between 6 months and a year to be approved and cleared. The move would be seen as a box ticked by Coventry, who campaigned to protect the female category on our way to winning the presidential election earlier this year. And of course, in some sports, wrestling and boxing, it's dangerous. It's flat out fucking dangerous to have trans women male to female trans competing. It would also avoid any awkward flashpoints with Donald Trump in the build-up to the LA Olympics. These broads, not broads, actually bros, broads, if we call them that, they shouldn't be competing. They have advantages. It's not fair. He signed the U.S. president in February. The U.S. president signed an executive order to prevent transgender women from competing in female sports. Such has been the focus of this area. The presentation was delivered by IOC Medical Health and Science Director Dr. Jane Thornton. So notice all the people involved in this except Trump are female. Not that Trump is involved with the IOC, but the people making these presentations and making these decisions are female. I think that's an important thing for them to do. I think it lends, it shouldn't, but I think it lends credibility to their conclusions.
Kurt tried out for the hack squat competition for female weightlifting in Houston. He lost, but they allowed him into the showers because no one could see his micro penis.
Damn it. Fucking boosh. Thanks. Whew. So Science Director Dr. Jane Thornton and members in Lausanne last week, which included a science-based review around trans and DSD issues, because they still need like a science-based review. It's like, just take the best female sprinter and the best male sprinter and have them race and watch him win and then go get lunch before she crosses the finish line. Just do that. It's not even hard. What's the micropene count now? I don't know. I haven't been tracking it. I don't tend to do that for the non-member shows. The IOC denied that any decision has been made on either front, and it's understood there has not yet been a presentation to the executive board, which convenes next convenes in December. An IOC statement to the Daily Mail Sport read, an update was given by the IOC's Director of Health, Medicine, and Science to the IOC members last week during the IOC Commission meetings. The working group is continuing its discussions on this topic, and no decisions have been taken yet. Among the points stressed is the presentation was a distinction between transgender and DSD athletes who have male chromosomes but were raised as female. Okay. On the latter, which led to immense controversy at the Boxing Paris 2024, the future landscape is less clear. So wait, these are genetic men? They have male chromosomes, but were raised as female? Who fucking cares if they're raised as female? Their hormones aren't raised as female. David Cohen, hey, thanks. It is understood that a rule change around DSD athletes is considered likely in the long run, but faces internal opposition, according to Daily Mail Sports sources. That separate branch of the debate, like it's not raising someone male or female that makes them faster. It's the fucking chemical composition of their body. Led to fury in Paris last year when Algeria's Iman Khalif and Lin Yuting of Taiwan won boxing gold medals after being disqualified from the World Championships for reportedly failing gender eligibility tests. The IOC Executive Committee, which included Coventry at the time, faced huge criticism for permitting them to fight. Yeah, it's not fucking, oh my gosh. It's not fucking safe. You got to stop. You got to stop. You got to stop putting bitches in the ring with dudes. I don't care how PC it is. It can cause massive amounts of damage They're faster. They hit harder, significantly harder. Men's shoulders, every man other than mine's shoulders are made to swing the hammers that are attached to them harder than women's are. All right, this is similarly themed. So I just want to, this is just all kind of on the same vein of news story right now that I'll report on real quick. I mentioned it earlier, but U.S. Supreme Court rejects a bid to overturn the same-sex marriage right. That was Kim Davis was the, I said Tennessee, sorry, Kentucky County official who refused to sign a marriage certificate. She lost her lawsuit. She was ordered to pay $360,000 in damages and legal fees for violating the same-sex couple's rights. And of course, this was targeted to overturn the Obergefell decision, which recognized same-sex marriage across the United States as a right that every state must honor. If any state offers, basically, it's the all writs clause of the Constitution. If any state offers a marriage certificate to homosexual couples, then every state has to honor it, implying that there is an underlying inherent right to homosexual marriage. People can disagree with that all you want. I'm not here to advocate for or against it. It's one of those issues that I cared about a lot in like 2003, 2004 when I was in college. I stopped caring about it so much, especially after Minnesota passed its gay marriage law, because there was, at that point, there's basically there's no fight left to have. Once the cultural shift had happened and reached that level of politic, from my perspective, it's like, okay, we're not going to fight this. Once the Supreme Court stepped in, it's now a really firmly entrenched position. It's just not going anywhere. If that's something you don't like, you have to lobby for like a constitutional amendment. It's going to become less and less popular as more and more people just kind of adapt or even defeatedly accept gay marriage as part of culture of America and eventually the rest of the world at some point. And like, again, you don't have to like it. I don't really like, I'm ambivalent. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I don't care. I don't want the government to marry anybody at all. I don't think government should be involved in marriage. I don't think having government involved in marriage and then subsequently having complications from not having access to marriage, like hospital visitation stuff, I don't think any of that is legitimate. I think it's a problem that could be fixed otherwise. I wish our government would stop marrying anybody. And then that way it's not their fucking business. But hey, that's how it goes.
The micropene count is whatever Nick decides.
Sigh, I have to agree. Camelot, hand me a white claw.
Yes, it is. It is whatever I decide. And I would say it's too many. I would say that's the most true decision. I'm not going to read through this story. Like, I was going to, but we spent a lot of time on Elijah Schaffer, and that was a much more important story. I was going to spend more time on it, but there's not much to say. There's a dedicated group of organizations and law firms that are going to attack Obergefell forever, and they're going to try and get it overturned like Roe versus Wade. It took 60 years for Roe versus Wade. I don't think Obergefell is going to go anywhere ever. I really don't. I would be very, very surprised if they ever came in. Like, as long as marriage is something that states are able to do, they issue marriage certificates, marriage licenses, and marry people, and then give them access to some sort of benefit, or special consideration because of their marital status. As long as that's true, Obergefell is going to stand. I don't see it going away anymore. And, again, I don't care what people think about it. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter to me. So please don't place me on either side of it. I don't give a shit. I used to be strongly opposed to gay marriage. Very strongly opposed to it. I became weakly opposed to it when I started to go, I don't really want the government to marry anybody at all. But every time the measure came up, I voted against it. I just don't think government should be defining what a marriage is. But hey, they do get to define what a marriage is, apparently. And in Minnesota, it became gay marriage was acceptable. So I'm like, all right, well, what do you do at that point? I'm not going to sit around being mad about it because like there's other issues that are more important to me than that, significantly more important. It's like hot chicks being with Kash Patel. I have a problem with this. I have a fucking problem with that. Ever Eden says, if you were a female and never have sparred a man, shut the fuck up. Oh yeah. You're going to get wrecked. If the underlying training gap would have to so heavily favor the female to overcome the genetic difference between a male and a combat sport. It just isn't fair. It just isn't fair. Now, of course, you can find men who are slower, like and not as strong or whatever. Like you can always find the example. But we're talking about comparable physical health, comparable training, comparable everything. The guy is going to be bigger, faster. His lungs consume 25% more oxygen automatically. His metabolism is higher. Muscle development is more rapid because of the amount of testosterone in the body. And frankly, like the structure of the muscles, how they're actually like stacked on each other, how they attach to the bones, and how they interact with each other. It's just faster. It's always, and you can find the evidence of this in literally every sport. Just look at all of the times in every sport. There's a speech in Letterkenny where the fucking hockey coach lays into these two women who are advocate, like women can compete with men in hockey. And he's like, no, you can't. He's like, it's only every sport, only every single one. It's like, yeah, there just isn't one where people with the comparative level of input and talent, like there's no comparison in outcome. But yeah. And if you've ever done any sort of combat sport and you've done intergender sparring, you see real quickly like how, I mean, it gets bad quick. So Jamestown, oh God, I have to watch Letterkenny again. Letterkenny is a really funny show. I really like it. It's fantastic. But yeah, that you miss the days of Unbreaded. You may not be missing them too much longer, DJ Deliverance, because I believe they will be making a comeback very soon. So with that, guys, I think we're going to wrap up for the night. It's been a great show. Thank you for hanging out. And by the way, when I say it's been a great show, I mean, you guys have been great. That's what I mean. You guys have been great. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you feel like sharing this around because you think the Elijah Schaffer story is interesting, please do so. Like I said, I'm going to try and get a shorter video out tomorrow. Once I get some morning stuff done, I'll try and get that out hopefully around lunchtime. And it'll be a little bit more digestible and concise for people because I've already gone through it. And but with that, we'll see if I'm able to do that. Who knows? I'm also going to, put up some shorts and stuff from this. But I hope you enjoyed it. Just so you guys know, I am here. And you can expect to see me pretty much every weeknight this week. That's the plan. And we're not. I don't think I'm going to be going away for a while again. I think I'm here again in the just back. All right. So if you want to come back with me, make sure you're here. Make sure you tell your friends. Make sure you are watching Dick in Hand around 11 o'clock. And some of these like Monday nights are really hard for me to start right at 11. So 11:30 is where I'm landing. I'm trying to make some minor adjustments in my personal life that'll allow that 11 o'clock start time to be the most consistent. And we're not doing 11:15s and 11:30s for now. Bear with me. I apologize. But with that, I bid you all adieu. Have a good night. Peace.
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes madder, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an ardbeg, a bow, more of the frog. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Dundee to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than